If you've ever been extremely excited for the start of the TGL Indoor Golf League, then you'd be a golf nerd like me. But also go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Folks, welcome back. Happy Tuesday. Good morning. We're back for another edition of Benzinga's pre-market playbook. We got a lot of news. That NVIDIA at CES was popping. Lots of new stuff to cover. I can't wait to get your opinions on it. And oh, yeah, we're going to make some money. It's a T3 Tuesday. Let's get it rolling. All right, folks, welcome back to another edition of Benzinga's pre-market playbook. I'm going to go ahead and break down all of the stories from today. I can't wait to discuss what's going on with the with NVIDIA. Who watched that the stream yesterday? I know Hadid, who joins us here in the morning, has said he's attended, I believe, the last several CESs in Vegas. Maybe we'll have him here. I think he's probably out there, so maybe he won't join. But just we're going through some of the news. A lot of the stuff looks really cool. And I'll say that as a gamer myself, man, I don't know if I can drop $2,000 on a brand new graphics card for my computer, but Jensen sure sold it yesterday, didn't he? Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Nabil, good morning. Welcome back. Alson Hori, what do you guys think of the new AMD NVIDIA? I suspect that that's going to be a topic of discussion pretty much all day here, not just with us, but also with the chat. So stick around for that. I'd like to hear what you think about it. Kayla, good morning. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Omer, good morning. Big Bees, I hope you're ready to print. You have been absolutely slaughtering things lately. Good morning. Welcome back. Diamond Hotline, good morning. Welcome back. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. I recommend a 10-second countdown since YouTube always pushes me to a commercial when you come on live. I always miss your opening statement. Wow. That is an amazing piece of feedback. Producer, did you know that? I wonder, have you guys missed all of those opening statements? I mean, they're not terribly important, but I like to put some effort into that. And I like to try to start the day off with a laugh. Really good piece of feedback, White Chocolate Mocha. I don't know where we'd be without you. This is how we start our day. Jonathan, good morning. Chuck, welcome back. Good morning. Paul, good morning. Fairchild, good morning. Sun-Kissed Yogi, welcome back. Good morning. Drew, welcome back. Urkan, nice to see you. Market Sniper, welcome back. Larry, PJ Trader, JJ, Sahil, Hustle and Bustle, Zebev, Steve, Homer, Jaywalker. Well, we got a Ralph. Good morning. We got a huge group here today. You absolutely love to see it. Welcome, folks. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. Every day it happens. Okay. That is a really good piece of advice. I will see if I can figure that out. That is really good feedback. Folks, don't ever be shy with feedback. We here at Benzinga are always trying to make everything better. It's like literally what we wake up and try to do every day, whether it's one of our products or one of our streams that you guys join for free. We are always trying to make things better. So if you have feedback on how we can do that, I want to hear it. That is for sure. Matthew, good morning. Boy, we got more people filing in here. I love this. Matthew, good morning. Sideshow, Yakshamash, good morning. Hello. Prudencia, I hope I didn't butcher your name. Hello, good morning. Bernhard, hello. Brandy, good morning. 3D in the house, good morning. Hope you're well. River, good morning. Sergeant Sexy, let's go. And Ivan, let's go. Okay, Jennifer, good morning. It was a great presentation. I'm excited for their expansion. I was disappointed they didn't mention SoundHound AI and their huge role in NVIDIA chips. That is an interesting comment. I wonder how SoundHound is doing today. After that, I wonder if there were more people kind of expecting that. We'll see. We'll check in on a SoundHound later today. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Sorry for the extended intro here, but you folks are really bringing the heat, and I love it here on a Tuesday. It's cold as hell outside. Well, that doesn't make any sense. It's very cold outside, so the fact that you're bringing the heat is awesome. All right, we're going to start here with the SPY, and we'll dive into NVIDIA and cover all of the news stories and all of the new products. Good morning, Jaguar J Trades. Good morning, Glenn. Great to see you folks. Okay. Looking at the SPY here, yesterday, I think I said that we are going to break out of this like compression area that we find ourselves in. We're really compressed here between 593.65 and 596.54. That is the 50-day moving average and the 20-day moving average. That compression gets even tighter here today. I got to think today we break out of this. It's either break out to the upside or break down from this. Just kind of looking around the market here, futures were flattish when I got up. The NASDAQ is flat. Dow's up by just about 0.2. S&P futures here trading up by 0.13%, so just over a tenth. So we're about flat across the board here. Really, the market could kind of go either way. I will say that the news coming out of CES, a lot of people sound excited about it. It does seem like their products really look amazing. Producer Michael and I were just talking about that. Their products do look amazing. So I want to hear about that. I certainly want to see how NVIDIA trades and all of that. But before we really get into that, I really do think that we are setting up for some type of move to a new area here. Is it going to be a breakdown to that 582.30? Are we going to go up to the trend line? Are we going to try and make new highs here on the SPY? So I want to see which direction we're going to go. I know for me, I've been really waiting a sell-off, and we've just haven't gotten it. And I've kind of said that, if you can't beat them, join them, right? And I'm part of me is worried about that, because when everyone turns bullish, that's of course when we'll get the sell-off. But in the meantime, I'm not just going to sit on the sidelines and not make money, especially when we have all of these different things going on. So where are we going to go? Where are we going to break out? What's the next direction going to be? I think today is going to be another step towards that. We'll see where we finish. Okay, now let's talk about NVIDIA, and let's talk about some of the news stories that came out for NVIDIA. All right. Jensen Huang unveils monster GPUs, NVIDIA's RTX 5000 series, which start at $549. They actually go up to $2,000. And those, of course, are built off the Blackwell architecture. Now, as you would expect, the processing power as GPUs evolve continues to go up and up. These look like a pretty significant jump. I recall when I bought the last graphics card that I have, which is a 3080, so the 3000 series, that graphics card was a massive step up from the previous generation. And it looks like with this Blackwell architecture in the 5000 RTX series, it's the same deal. Just really, really sweet performance numbers across the board. One thing that we'll have to see is are they actually able to sell them at from the factory? Several years ago, right around COVID, obviously graphics cards were hard to come by, and people were actually reselling them sometimes for 2x the price on eBay or other reseller sites. So I want to see, is there going to be enough of these? If a lot of people upgrade, are you going to be able to actually get this at the retail price, or are you going to have to go to third-party sellers? I hope that's not the case. In any case, the chip does look good. Here's the story for it. I think that producer will probably get these in here as well. But really quickly, here's the story. I did want to, let me share this real fast. So this is also not just desktops, right? This is also going to introduce the RTX 50 series to laptops. And those laptops are going to be expensive. You can see some of the performance numbers here. It looks like these are going to be available in March. I think he said January for some of the cards. Here we go. The laptops are going to be available in March. The actual cards for desktop machines are going to be available starting in January here. So this is right around the corner. These specs, again, I don't want to spend too much time nerding out on you with some of the technical specs here, but man, oh man, some of these specs look pretty good. DDR7, GDDR7 memory, just huge memory bandwidth, tons of CUDA cores. So this chip looks really awesome. I'll be honest, I wish I had one of these in my main rig, but we'll see. When the performance numbers come out, one of the things that I will be doing, a lot of the YouTubers will actually bench test or review a lot of these chips against some of the previous ones, especially in the wild. I always find those things helpful. So we'll see what kind of performance we get this looks good. Refresh cycle looks good. This is definitely going to help drive NVIDIA higher. There's no doubt about that. So Monster GPUs, RTX 5000 series available in January. The notebook's coming a little bit later here in March. The other thing that Huang announced, ooh, look at that. We'll talk about the daily chart here in a sec. The other thing that Huang announced was, by the way, he showed up wearing his black leather Tom Ford jacket, then said, let that sink in, which I think is just kind of funny. Nonetheless, he unveiled a $3,000 personal AI supercomputer, the size of a small book, like a notebook computer. It runs the entire NVIDIA AI stack. Digits is powered by NVIDIA's proprietary GB10 Grace Blackwell superchip, which is specifically designed to accelerate computations required for AI workloads. So that's what it means. It's interesting. Here is the article. Producers are already on top of that. Here is the article. I did go through this. I'm very familiar with NVIDIA's graphics cards chips. Like that, I probably, all I just need to watch is probably a benchmark video to get an idea of how much better it is. But this seems to be a new product here. And it was interesting. I wanted to know, how does this differ, right? What's different about this product? And it says in here, the system is compact, about the size of a small book, yet packs impressive specs, 128 gigabytes of unified memory and up to 4 gigabytes of NVMe storage. So that's going to be your M2 drive, your really, really fast storage. And it's interesting, too, because the unified memory here, this is what Apple does in its new series. It's not, just RAM or just memory for this. They call it their unified memory. It looks like NVIDIA is going the same route here. Digits can handle a single AI model of up to 200 billion parameters, which would typically require cloud services like AWS. So the big draw here, again, is that you can use some of these models that require extreme computational power on your local machine, as opposed to needing to do this in the cloud or getting access to the cloud. So that's kind of what separates this. I'd like to know from you folks what the real big benefit of that is, other than just being able to do more. Definitely want to know about that. So I'm sure we'll talk about that. I want to hear all of the opinions that you guys have. And then some of the other stories here were that this was, like it mentions in here, Hung also announced that Toyota will base its next generation vehicles on NVIDIA Drive AGX. So we had NVIDIA supercomputers operating system to power Toyota's next-gen vehicles. We also had Uber and NVIDIA partnering on AI projects for autonomous cars. So in addition to, like the AI, it really seems like there was a push towards autonomous vehicles and autonomous driving in this conference. And as far as that goes for trades for us, one of the things that we should be very ready for, or on the lookout for, I should say, is what other types of deals are going to be made where smaller companies kind of join on for this. What I'm getting at here is, think about SoundCloud, right? SoundCloud has its own, or SoundHound, excuse me. SoundHound has its own product, partners with NVIDIA, stock goes crazy. I think that there could be multiple other stocks and companies that do something similar, and it could be structured around this autonomous driving and all of that. I know the Gordon Johnson's making some waves saying that, this is a feature that nobody really asked for. I kind of get that, right? I kind of get the other side of this. I, for one, not a fan of autonomous driving. I like driving. I'm better than most drivers out there. I take it seriously. I've practiced. I actually like it. It's therapeutic for me. I would never want to spend extra or relinquish driving and rely on a computer to do that for me. It's just not my thing. So I get where he's coming from on that. However, after talking to people, especially people of varying ages and locales and all of that, it does seem like this is a fairly palatable idea. So we'll see how this ends up taking off. But a lot of stuff going on there with autonomous driving, and I think that this is actually going to represent other opportunities for us, and that's something I think we should be ready for. Jensen Huang's CES 2025 vision sparks mixed reactions. Ross Gerber says NVIDIA has changed the world already and looks to keep doing that. While other analysts like Gordon Johnson debate AI and autonomous driving ambitions. I think that, like I was just talking about, I think there are going to be people on both sides of the aisle. I don't know that this back and forth is really going to affect the stock price. I mean, we'll see. There's going to be some other things tied to this that I think are going to be more impactful for the stock. That would just kind of be my thought, but we'll see. We'll see how this all shakes out. Sure looks like on the surface here, NVIDIA is absolutely changing the world. Again, their products look awesome. It seems like there's a huge demand for their products. Their stock has been awesome. Their stock here really seems to be invalidating now the head and shoulders that we've been looking at. I mean, maybe you can say this moved from 146 to maybe you got 20 points on a head and shoulders move there. I don't know. I would have liked to break down at least to the 200-day. Now it looks like we got some new highs. Looks like we're testing this high here from Thursday, November 21st. I've got 152.78 as the current price, and I have that exact high there, 152.89. So definitely watch NVIDIA today. I would understand if you guys are looking for a day trade here. I would say if NVIDIA has any momentum and we break to new all-time highs, that could absolutely be one of your trade setups here today, whether it be with stack or with options. So NVIDIA, at least early here, we'll see how it opens. We'll see what that opening print looks like, what some of the option activity looks like. Sure looks like NVIDIA is going to print new all-time highs here today, and maybe we'll get a trade on that setup. Okay, NVIDIA and Toyota, we talked about that. NVIDIA and Uber, we talked about that a little bit. AMD, all right, AMD. So let's go to that here. Ticker AMD. Not as awesome of a chart as NVIDIA, no doubt. AMD unveils the next generation AI processor and gaming gear ahead of CES 2025. It looks impressive, looks good. The big thing here, though, is are they actually going to be able to take market share? Are they going to be able, how are they going to do with PC processor sales? How are they going to do with GPU sales? I mean, we just talked about the new NVIDIA GPUs. They look awesome. I currently have an NVIDIA GPU. I think there would need to be a tremendous difference in the price with almost no difference in performance for me to switch to AMD. And I'd also want to know about the longevity of that. So we'll see if AMD can take any type of market share, if it can kind of, let's call it, ride the AI wave and maybe earn back some market share from NVIDIA. I think this chart is primed to go. It's tough to say if that's going to happen. NVIDIA is really just killing it. They're just hitting on all cylinders right now. Looking at the chart here on AMD, it does look like we kind of settled here and had some support at 120. And now it looks like we're attempting to recapture the 500-day here. So this would be great. This would be the first step in another up move here in NVIDIA, or excuse me, in AMD. The one other thing that I would mention here, although it's not by a whole lot, we've actually set a higher low recently when kind of carving out this support. This support or this level does go all the way back to 2023, about summer of 2023. So we'll see if NVIDIA can continue, or NVIDIA, God, I keep doing it. We'll see if AMD can continue to try to trade up here. It does look like there's a near-term bottom in. And over the long run, over 2025, if their products can take any market share, I think this chart is primed to move. It is definitely a solid company, CEO protection unit. There's no question about that. In fact, in the current machine that I'm broadcasting from, it's also the machine I play games from and trade from, I'm using an AMD Ryzen 9 chip. I've been using that, I think, since 2021. I can't remember exactly when I built this machine, but it's been running great. I've had literally no problems with it at all. They make a great product. They're a great company. You're absolutely right about that. Really, this comes down to, can they take market share from NVIDIA? Can they, NVIDIA, like I said, they're just really, really crushing it. So we'll see here on AMD. The chart does look more appealing. I understand if this is something that you'd want to go after instead of NVIDIA. Although for today, it sure looks like NVIDIA might go on a little bit of a run if it breaks into new all-time highs. Okay, now the next piece of news here, I don't necessarily have a trade for this. I would definitely like to listen to y'all about what your thesis would be for a trade on this. Some of you that have known me or follow me understand that I don't trade Meta. This is a company that I just really don't like. And as a result, I kind of just steer clear of it. for my own personal reasons. However, some pretty good news on this here today. Meta Platforms names Dana White, John Elkann, and Charlie Songhurst to the board. Dana White, probably the most notable of those names, just all in on free speech, which was one of Meta's biggest problems, frankly. So the fact that you're putting Dana White on the board is encouraging. The other thing to keep in mind here is I don't necessarily think this is just for show. Remember, Mark Zuckerberg recently is extremely into mixed martial arts and all of that. I'm sure he loves Dana White. And to me, I don't think this is just kind of, plop it, cursory, just kind of throw him on the board. I think that this actually is going to be impactful. It'll take some time, I'm sure, but I think this is going to be impactful. Now, that's only one angle of it. The next thing, and I believe that news was out yesterday, the next thing I didn't hear about till today, but they're ending their fact-checking program. Meta ending their fact-checking program and moving to a X-like community notes model. Now, this is significant for a couple of reasons. Okay, number one, the fact-checking at Meta was an absolute disaster. Going all the way back to the Cambridge Analytica, where they were using data to extrapolate different stuff, and it was a complete mess. The fact-checkers were completely biased. They got called out by an unbelievable amount of people from all different walks and from all different sides of the aisle. Their fact checking was an absolute nightmare. And now they're moving to community notes, and which is good. And I think that the other thing that this says is this just shows how well Elon Musk is actually executing. There was a lot of debate right after Elon took over X. Is it better? Is it worse? There were people, there was definitely a partisan line that was kind of being held on that. There's absolutely no question that the X platform is better than it was prior to Elon Musk. There's no question at all about this. And now you're seeing other companies adopt some of the things that Elon put in their own companies. Community Notes is fantastic. Community Notes is going to stop people from being able to promote things that are fake. It's working very, very well right now. And I would imagine that if this system continues to proliferate, as long as it doesn't become poisoned in some way, this is a net positive for all involved. Now, what does this mean for the stock? That I don't know. And that's what I'd like to hear from you folks. I'd like to know, is that looking at this chart here, boy, this looks like a pretty awesome chart. Look at this thing from like, here, this right in here from November 2022, stock was under $100. It's $630 right now. This is just almost straight up above all of its moving averages. And recently right here, this also looks like this is teasing a breakout to new all-time highs. So does any of this stuff move Meta? Is this going to actually help the stock price? Or is it going to be just kind of business as usual for Meta? I will say, like I said, this news definitely seems like a positive. John Elkann, I think, also has some connections in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll have to check on that. So love to hear about that. We'll see if we get any trades set up on Meta. Next here, we're going to talk about, we're just going to mention it, I guess, here. Getty and SSTK. So Getty Images and Shutterstock announced a merger agreement for $3.7 billion. I'll be honest, this is not anything on my radar. I don't use Shutterstock at all. I don't see the synergy here, but this is what's going on here. So GETY and SSTK, that's going to be your Shutterstock ticker. These charts look the same. They're obviously having a great pre-market. Congrats to anyone that was in this. As far as going forward here, I'm not sure if there's a trade. Again, I'm not. This is not something that I'm really kind of on top of. So I'd like to know what you folks think and if there's a potential trade here going forward. So that's Getty and SSTK. Okay, now another stock that we want to talk about, or that we have been talking about recently, that we're going to continue to take a look at, and I'm sure we're going to continue to trade here, is Chewy. Let me go to the actual daily chart here on Chewy. Pretty good looking daily chart. Sure looks like 40's coming here. Sure looks like 40 wants to get broken out from. We'll see if we're able to do that here on Chewy. Chewy set for over 50% upside in bull case. Quote, entering beast mode for 2025, end quote, says analysts. So if you are in or if you're a Chewy bull, this is exactly the type of news that you wanted to see. Let's just call this right around 40, 50% upside. That's about 20 points. That puts us at 60. If we back out here, let me reset this chart. If we back out here, this is where that would go. All right. So really, really awesome. Again, a company that I just absolutely love and use myself. I'm a sucker for animals. And I love that there's a company that really kind of puts animals first. The other thing that we've discussed when it comes to Chewy here is that people that have money, they're definitely willing to spend it on their pets. And if you see any type of positive wealth effect from the market going up, these stocks going up, crypto going up, it's reasonable to assume a positive wealth effect that might also affect some of these stocks like Chewy. Wolf would be another one that is in there. We've talked about that with 13 before as well. So really good stuff here. That's what's going on with Chewy. The chart actually looks pretty good. And again, I just want to reiterate real quick that right back here, back in May, when this earnings report came out, the entire stock traded differently. It was just overnight, the stock just traded differently, in addition to really kind of breaking out of the downtrend and coming up off the bottom. Now it looks like we're right back around 40 here. We'll see if we break out and trade higher from 40. Brandy saying, I spend a fortune at Chewy. Facts. Relatable AF. I do too. And I'll tell you something else, Brandy. There's something about, if you order and like you order something that's really, really heavy, like litter, or like if you're buying food for your dog, that's like a huge 50-pound food bag. It's nice to just have that dropped off at your house. I will say, I've, no problem carrying stuff that's heavy, but it's a nice little bonus there. And the price is obviously a lot of the times just straight up better than the brick and mortar store. I absolutely love Chewy. Keep smiling. I love Chewy, and it has been a money printer on options. Awesome. I absolutely love hearing that. Lolo, Heart, Chewy. Brandy, I'm getting a Chewy delivery today. Well, at least it's showing up. So, okay, really good stuff there. That makes me smile. All the happiness for Chewy and animals and stuff like that. It really makes me smile. What can I say? Okay, next here, Palantir. And for the Palantir bulls, might be earmuff time. Might be earmuff time for the Palantir bulls. Jim Cramer predicts Palantir buying surge tonight after Morgan Stanley's underweight rating. Quote, unless another analyst starts with a sell, ... end quote. Okay. I believe that this was on last night's Mad Money. So Jim Cramer calling for a run here, right? I want to make sure I use his words and not my own interpretation. A buying surge. Okay. Well, if we take a look here at Palantir, that buying surge is not showing up. Palantir a little bit soft here, down by 1.3% here in the pre-market. And it's funny. Morgan Stanley had an underweight rating. We actually talked about that a little bit yesterday, unless another analyst starts with a sell. So it's basically like Jim's just kind of waiting for like a cascade of other downgrades. Now I'm looking at the news here today. I don't see anything fresh here for Tuesday. So I don't think that there's any downgrade at least coming today. What does that mean for tomorrow and the rest of the week? I don't have an answer for that, but Jim Cramer thinks there's going to be buying surge unless there's a downgrade. We've been talking a lot about Palantir recently. We've been talking about a lot of different levels that kind of make sense for Palantir here. Honestly, what I'm kind of waiting out is this 60 level. And I know that might sound crazy. Stock has just been on a ridiculous run. I've been bullish on the run. I've been long and bullish on the run to where we're at right now. So it might be a little weird waiting for some downside, but again, stocks go up and down. And I really do think if this can kind of come back in, I want to see it break beneath the 50, right? Like the 50's right here at 65. Could I see it bouncing there? Yeah, sure. Especially if the RSI by that time is really kind of got hit. I could see an RSI bounce there, but realistically, the level that I'm absolutely looking for here on Palantir is 60. I think you're going to get a better bounce and a better trade from that level if we do end up hitting it. Okay. That is Palantir. Sorry, I had a long list of news here, so I apologize if I'm getting lost a little bit here. Cattle and Tencent. We actually talked a little bit about this yesterday. U.S. adds Tencent and Tesla supplier cattle to Chinese military blacklist and shares tumble. Now, cattle, that's not, I don't think that's CATL, the ticker. No, it's not. So is this actually going to affect Tesla? I guess is the question. I did see a little piece on this morning on CNBC. And they did kind of say that this is, both of these companies, Tencent and Cattle, are appealing. I don't know if that's technically the right words. Don't pin me on that one, but they're basically trying to see if they can get out of this in some way or minimize this in some way, get off this list, as they don't believe that it actually has ties to military. I think that the Pentagon can kind of be a little bit secretive about that. I'm sure there are a number of things that could land you on that list. We'll see what happens with this. I guess in the meantime, you'd want to know, is this actually going to affect Tesla? If we take a look at Tesla here today, Tesla is lower in the pre-market. All right. So Tesla is being hit by this. There was also some more news here. Tesla downgraded to neutral from buy at Bank of America. The NHTSA opens preliminary evaluation into estimated 2.6 million Tesla U.S. vehicles over actually smart summon crashes. One complaint is filed, 3 media reports, incidents reviewed. So Tesla a little bit weak here in the pre-market. Here's the news on Tencent and Huawei to the list of Chinese companies. So we'll see what kind of impact this actually has on Tesla. I tend to believe that this is kind of a buying opportunity for Tesla. I would imagine that this bounces here, especially given yesterday. What are we right around 400 here? I wouldn't be shocked if this did bounce off that 400 level. We'll see if we end up getting that here on Tesla. And then if we go back to that daily, looks like that next fib level, I have that at 390.94. Let's just call it 391 for another potential spot there. So we'll see what we get on Tesla. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. Ryan, you going to talk about the Enron egg? The Enron egg. I would have to look that up. Wes. Let me do that. I was not prepared for that. Okay, and then the last thing here is going to be MicroStrategy. Who here is excited to talk about MicroStrategy? I know you are. I know all of you Bitcoin folk are excited to talk about MicroStrategy. And let's first start with the daily chart here. So it did look like we were having kind of a head and shoulders move down. We did lose the 50, and it does look like we kind of so I guess technically we didn't really fill this gap, although we kind of tried down here. Now we're bouncing right back to that support area, and check it out, 383.40. This spot that we've identified looks like it's coming back into play again here today. 370.30. We'll see if MicroStrategy can trade up. If we take a look inside yesterday, look at that. Is that a coincidence? No, I don't believe in coincidences. I think that definitely, I think there are other traders definitely looking at the same thing. Big B's looking to lean on you for some MicroStrategy entry and exits here today. You too, Lion. I know that this is going to be a good one. The news story here, sorry for the delay here. MicroStrategy $650 target reiterated by analysts with high accuracy. Michael Saylor linked company preferred stock offerings will attract insurance companies and banks. So the bull case here saying, hey, the strategy that Michael Saylor has, this is actually good. There are other larger institutional investors and banks that are going to like this and are going to be attracted to this. And if that happens, the sky's the limit here. MicroStrategy 650 price target. So what do you folks think about that? Do you think that we're going to get a big MicroStrategy run? Do you think it's going to go to 650? I love this stock because we've got people like these analysts that are saying, yeah, stock's going to attract other institutional investors and banks, 650 price target. And then on the other side of the fence, we got people saying it's a Ponzi scheme. And You know what? I don't criticize either party. I am a Bitcoin bull, so I don't really think it's a Ponzi scheme. But that's exciting. It's exciting when there's a stock that has a battleground like that. Stock can really kind of do anything. That's what makes a market. And that's what makes for some of these huge moves and a lot of this volatility. So micro strategy here. We do have some key levels that we've identified previously that are coming into play. Let's see what we can do here with that. Let's see if there's a trade here with that. Lion, Big B's, you guys liking MicroStrategy? Lolo, you're ready to go with MicroStrategy? Let's go. That's what I wanted to hear. And you guys are looking at Hoth and some of these smaller movers. Believe me, we're gonna go through all those movers. Don't you worry about that. We're gonna let some of them settle here too. I suppose if you folks are already looking at that, you probably already have a trade either planned or executed on that. So, okay, good stuff there. That's it with the news. Some economic events to keep your eyes open for, to keep your ears open for here today. We have the JOLTS job openings at 10 a.m. and the ISM services PMI. Although this probably won't move the market, it would be in our best interest maybe to stay on top of that. Okay, so really, really good stuff there. Sorry, one sec. Let me just respond to this message. Okay. So maybe we do kind of want to take a look at this. Let me see. Did I miss anything from you guys? You guys are mentioning Fubo, Chewy, which we already talked about. Okay, we're hitting all of it here. You guys are making jokes about the how heavy some of the food is. Believe me, I totally get it. Okay. X has gone way down. Completely disagree with you, like 100%, like totally. Brandy, X is full of false and fake news. Completely disagree. In fact, I believe there was a poll recently. A majority of people, I think like 70-something%, get their news from X. The community notes has made that way better. It's exposed a lot of the mainstream media that have been telling lies for years and years now. I'm completely on the other side with that. But that again, I guess Twitter's not really a stock anymore, so we can't really say it makes a market. Palantir, we talked about. AMD, we talked about. AUR, that's one of the movers. We're going to talk about that. More shared dislike for Facebook and Meta, which I totally understand. Chewy. Okay, I think we did really. ARBE, that was a mover from yesterday. I'm sure we can take a look at that again here today. Hoth, you guys are talking about. We'll look at that. Absolutely. Hoth, Rocket Lab, Getty, XTIA, Fubo. Okay. All right, sweet. So we're pretty much at the movers here. Let's see. What time is it? 8:38. All right, let's see. Am I missing something? Okay, so I think we're still waiting. We'll see what we can do. All right, let's see. All right, let's take a look at some of these movers here. We can just kind of start with that. You guys wanted to start with Hoth. I know this is a previous one from all of it, and then IMRX. Okay, Tom, that's what we'll do. We'll start with these two here. Hoth. Hoth Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company announced safety results from a phase 2A trial showing that 100% of patients in cohort 1 achieved the primary efficacy endpoint. Okay, so we've seen this before. We've seen this plenty of times with Hoth. This is nothing new. We've seen this stock pop, drop, have all different types of news, especially about drug trials. This is a phase 2A trial, which means that they're going to have another phase 3 trial after this, which immediately means that they're going to need money. So we can start with that. They're cash flowing negative. They don't have a whole lot of money on their balance sheet. I would expect another type of capital raise here, maybe even potential dilution in order to get that. So just be careful with that. If we take a look at the daily chart here we go. Remember, this is kind of what we're saying with Hoth. This has been kind of a disappointment a number of other times that we've traded this. Every time that this stock seems to pop, it drops. It likes to give those gains back, sometimes same day. So that's kind of what these candles with these huge upside wicks are showing you. Now, today is obviously a huge gap, right? In fact, we're gapping over the 500-day average. So we'll see if we hold that here. We'll see if we have a trade here. I'd be very careful with this. I think this is totally a risky stock. And if I were you, I would probably look for a better opportunity than this one. But it is on the movers list, so we will take a look at it, and we will be watching that here. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up from the guest in the back? Are we good to go? Are we good to go? We'll go ahead. Bang. All right, folks. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. It's a T3 Tuesday. Let's welcome Adam Mesh. Let's bring him up. Hey, Adam. Welcome back. Happy New Year, my man. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. And I got the Montana hat on now, as we discussed.
So that's hilarious because I was thinking to myself, I was like, should I make a crack about that? Because I really embarrassed myself the last time here.
You did.
So I love it. I love the fact that you brought it out here. That is exactly what I remember. That the circle is now complete, Adam.
I'm going to become the Montana trader known in the Benzinga community.
Hey, look, I'll join you when I get out there. I'll join you. Okay. I did want to, first of all, Happy New Year. It's great to see you here. I did want to first start by asking, just right off the top, is there anything different that you're either doing, looking for, or preparing for in 2025, or is this just business as usual for you?
You want to react to how the markets are changing always, right? And so the thing I've noticed that started in December and it's carried over now is previously, obviously the markets were very strong last year. They've been strong every year. But let's say you were trading Palantir and it was really strong into the close. The next morning, you wouldn't necessarily get that pop. It might open down 2 points and then have to rally, and you'd have to navigate the volatility. And that's just an example. I'm not trading Palantir, but what I've been seeing lately more is on the right names, you get the follow through overnight. I don't know if it's a January trend, but I've been getting involved in things where a strong close makes for an up open. So I've been carrying some stuff overnight. I usually do options with that, so there's less risk. Whereas I thought the better play for me is an individual trader, right? I'm not a money manager. I'm not holding long term. I'm trading things for days, weeks, maybe a couple months. So I'm looking for the trends. It had been better to come in flat for a while and just trade. Now I like taking some overnight risk to get that continuation.
Okay, now that's awesome, and that's exactly the type of thing that I was looking for in the answer too. So, really good stuff there. Seems like you kind of noticed something, and then you're altering how you trade that. Let me ask you: do you take do you get some of your gains or a portion of your gains booked ahead of time, and then maybe leave a trailer on for the next day? Is this something where you're leaving a majority of the position out? How are you kind of determine? You talked about using options to determine the risk ahead of time, but how are you actually carrying that risk overnight?
So with the options, if it's already moved up a little bit, maybe I'll roll them up to a higher strike. That's a great way to reduce risk in options, is just to move the strikes around. And yes, I always take some off the table when things are trending up. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is what I am. I'm a terrible holder. I can't hold an entire position and just sit there with the fluctuation. So I am constantly moving, navigating, but trying to ride those waves. This community, I think I've done really well, because I remember this summer coming on and talking about the quantum stocks, and I was talking about qubits when it was under $2, and I was talking about IONQ when it was at $12.
It's 51 now.
And those stocks have gone. I didn't talk about Rigetti. I didn't know about it then. It was but I did say it was going to be like a couple year play. I didn't realize it was going to be a 1 month play. But like, that's a great example of some of those continuation trades where these things were really popping overnight for a while, where if you held them, you came in, you got rewarded for that. Now they're like crazy. Like I'm much lighter on all these, but they were really exciting to trade. And even the nuclear stocks, which came before the quantum stocks,
Yep.
when they reopened the power plant, they look like they're starting off January good and with a strong trend as well. But let me ask you a question. You were talking about HOTH, and I know you said you wouldn't recommend that one, but where do you go? I'm just curious, because I'm always looking for what's in play.
Mhm.
What's that hot list that you guys have that you use?
Let me, you know what? I'm so glad you asked that. Let me show you real quick here. We are on with Adam Mesh, excuse me. If you want to get all of his top option trading strategies in one simple training and learn how he finds trades looking to print money every week, link is in the description. Also, the QR code here on the screen. Adam, let me show you. One of the things that we do every single day is we use a tool in Benzinga Pro called the Movers tool. And it's an extremely easy to use tool that is trying to show you what stocks are moving. But because you can actually specify up, down in a session, basically what I'm doing every morning is I'm looking for what stocks are trading higher. I start with higher. I go to losers second, but I start with what stocks are trading higher in the pre-market. So this list that you see here on the screen, these are a list of all of the stocks that are about to gap when the market opens. The only filter that I apply to this is a liquidity filter, 600K minimum shares. I need to be able to know I'm going to be able to trade in and out of this thing. So I don't need something that's gapping up 25% on 2,000 shares. Not going to help anybody. And then also minimum price of $1. I don't trade penny stocks. It's got to at least be $1. This list right here, I don't have to know anything that's going on in the world. This list right here, every single day, no matter what the market conditions are, will give me a list of stocks that are moving on volume. And this is almost always the exact same stocks that everyone seems to be looking at on that given day. This is where I got hot from. It's at the top of the list here this morning.
I love that. I love that. And I love that that was going to be my first question, was about volume, because you need that volume. And probably, when you get the more millions of shares traded, the more exciting that thing's going to be in play. I like that you have a minimum of $1, so you're not wasting your time.
Yep.
I like all that. So you probably must have like 5-6 stocks halted you're trading a week for volatility, right?
Absolutely. I mean, just today, just since you're here today, when we haven't really broken down the movers yet, the top stocks that I'm going to be looking at for potential day trades here today are HOF, IMRX, MSAI, AUR, and maybe Getty. We'll see. So all of those lists are, all of those stocks right here.
I'll never trade. Do you know what Getty's business is, right?
Getty image. No, they're merging with Shutterstock.
They trick you into using their images and then threaten to sue you if you don't pay them.
Yes,
they're like
yes,
a blackmail
they're the ambulance
company.
chasers. Yes, I do know that.
Getty is a blackmail company. I hate them.
Okay.
They used to be like, we'd be like, post a picture of like a generic whatever in one of our newsletters, and they'd be like, "Oh, you owe us $50,000." And it said free, but they somehow backdoored us into saying, "No, that's our picture." And I was like, "Oh my God, Getty Images."
Yeah. So okay. So sorry for bringing up the bad memories there, but I'm with you on that, because here's the thing. Like, I'll see either a company, like I don't like Meta, for example. Okay, Meta's a great stock to trade. It's made a lot of people a lot of money. I hate it. I hate it because I just didn't like Facebook's product. I had some bad experiences in the past, so I totally get it. And I understand how that can kind of fold into the trading plan. Really quickly here, another shout out to Benzinga Pro. We actually had this merger rumor news printed several days ago. Looks like first one here was on Friday. That's the highlighted in fuchsia here. So Benzinga Pro kind of had an inkling that this was going to happen ahead of time. But now, of course, we get that news here today. Stocks up plus 45.5%. So Adam, this is how I identify some of these different movers. Let me ask you, what are you looking at right now?
So same thing. We're very similar. I didn't even realize how similar we are. I'm looking for stocks that are in play. I consider myself to be, literally it's like a surfer, but my waves are in the market. So I'm looking for waves to ride, good momentum. I want to get in and I want to get off before they crash. I will make bigger plays when I have conviction on some of the bigger names. Mm-hmm. So there are things where I'll even take ownership if I'm going to get dividends and I can sell calls against it. So we think crypto is going to be, at least in play for a while under the new administration. They support it. So we don't think there's going to be any kind of collapse. So I got involved in where we sold puts and Bido, took ownership, and it pays a great dividend every month. I'll do stuff like that. But SoFi is a great example. That was our biggest trade towards the end of last year. When it crossed over $10, we're like, okay, this thing's finally going. It's back. And we had a target of 14, and we got heavy on the options, and it actually went up further than we thought, but that was a really good trade. So if it's a bigger name, more stable, we'll go a little bit bigger in size. For the other stuff, we're looking to get involved, but like I said, ride those waves and get off. A lot of premium collection in everything I do. And thank you for mentioning the service. I'll tell you, the biggest thing that changed, I've done this for over 15 years. And in this industry, as you know, people always want the next thing. So I always used to every year come out with a couple of new services. And that was part of running a business. But then I sold my business. So this is kind of like my second act. And I knew what people really wanted was to get all their things in one place. So my new service that we have it's been going on now for like 7 months, it's been fantastic, is it's all my strategies in one place. So rather than having to sign up for 10 different things to get 10 different strategies, I trade whatever's best here. And there's a lot of premium collection. We have had a lot of success early on, which has allowed us to get into some of those dividend paying stocks and build a portfolio as we go. So we'll get into those shorter term trades that are exciting, but at the same time, we have dividends coming in, some stocks every week. There's actually weekly dividends, monthly dividends. So having a lot of fun, but we do look for the same things. What's going to attract me to a stock is high volume, unusual volume activity. A plus is always going to be no news, like that HOTH. I'm just
interesting. Okay.
The HOTH I'm just mentioning because you guys were talking about it beforehand. I haven't looked at it yet. If it's a biotech stock with biotech news, now the news is out. That's going to be a little harder for me to trade. You said stay away from it. I agree with you. That could be something that collapses before the market even opens. But if you get something that has no news and is trading and they can't find out why, that becomes very exciting to me, the unknown, because that usually means the news is forthcoming and the stock can remain in play for a while as they continue to speculate. And the longer you can have a volume spike with no news, the more exciting it gets.
Okay, well, that's extremely interesting to hear from you, because if I go back to my note sheet from yesterday, where, like I said, I used the exact same set of tools to prepare for what stocks were moving in the morning. I had MEGL plus 188% in the morning, no news. I had KITT plus 82% in the morning. There was a Form 8. Sorry, that one did have news. BAOS, some junky company I had never really heard of, 76%, no news. MBOT, 71%, no news. EKSO, 56%, no news, but they had NASDAQ compliance from a few weeks ago in December. So it's really fascinating to hear you say that the no news angle, there's almost more uncertainty, so that can then create perhaps more of a run and more profits. Sorry, I'm going to check New Year's resolution for 2025 right here, Adam, because we're so similar. I'm going to try and approach things just like that. And I'm going to see if that makes any difference in how I trade some of these low price crazy runners, because one of the things that I've done, and the folks here have seen me do this, I've been like, okay, we've got a fairly good entry. Maybe it's near the VWAP or it's near a moving average. The stock pops. Maybe I get 20, 30, 40 cents, whatever it is. And then the question is, well, do I take gains here? Is this going to be 100% runner where I'm going to be kicking myself for selling? Or is this going to come right back in and I'm going to lose all my profit? And there's been plenty of times where I've been like, look, I don't know what's going on here. The stock has no news. It's probably junky. I'm going to take my gains and see what happens. But you're telling me kind of a different strategy. You're saying maybe there's some uncertainty and that stock can really kind of trade more. That's extremely interesting to me.
So, as an example, yesterday, there was a stock. I don't know. I could look at the symbols like POAI or something. I don't even remember.
I think that is it.
Yeah.
Predictive oncology. Yep. Here you go.
So they did like a merger. They got bought, and it was announced it was $3 per share, right? And so I looked at it. It went from like 3 to 2, and then it went below 2, and I'm like, okay, this. They said it's bought at 3, but then I looked and I said. They said it's going to settle after a year and a half. I'm like, who's holding this $2 stock for a year and a half? I got involved for one move. It went from like 2 to 250, and that was my only wave. I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, I'm not holding this for a year and a half. If this goes for $1.50, I don't want to look at this every day for 18 months. And everyone has all the information already. Now I'm at a complete disadvantage. People are going to do things. And if it's not close to 3 right now, there's a reason for it. And now I'm just curious where it is today, because I went out with none of it because I didn't
194.
Right. So it didn't go up. Like, it's a $3 merger, but it's not doing anything. And so that's what I'm talking about. You know, they're telling you it's $3. It's trading below 2, but there's a reason, and all the information's out. Now we're at the disadvantage. And the other stock you were talking about where there was a merger, where you said you guys predicted or discussed that there was a possible merger in the stock.
Yeah, that was oh God, that was why can't I remember it? I just showed it to you. I just showed it to you.
Off like 50 names, so it's a little hard. But anyhow, my point is, I'll bet you that volume was trending up ahead of that news.
It absolutely was. It absolutely was. Why can't I remember this? Oh, it was Getty. It was Getty. It was the stock that we hate. It was the Shutterstock Getty images here. Here you go.
So yeah, if we take a look at the Getty volume, right? And I obviously I didn't even know which one we're talking about right now, but the average volume in Getty is 600,000 shares, right? And the news came out today, but yesterday it did 8 million shares. Maybe the news came out yesterday. But even going back to December 31st, it was 989,000 shares. So there's like, these stocks tip their hand, you know, and you could always watch that volume. And when you're above that average volume, and the longer you could stay there, that was the thing with those quantum stocks, by the way, like the qubits, like when it was trading around $2, that volume got heavy and it just stayed heavy. It just stayed heavy. If that volume stays and it keeps like that, you know you have a stock that's going to be in play. There's another one I'm watching. If you want to keep an eye on with me, it's interesting. It's a little late.
Yeah, I do.
And I'm light in it now, but have you looked at RZLV at all?
Yes.
Okay. So I got in. That one I traded as a stock because there are no options. Resolve AI, but it was trading around 2. They announced they did some government contracts, but they also announced that Elon Musk wanted to use that technology with that new Doge department. I'm like, okay, we have Elon Musk mentioned government contracts. And even though Doge is the name of the department, we also know with the cryptos that it's a buzzword. I'm like, there's so many buzzwords about the stock, and the volume's incredible that, like, I bought a lot at a little over $2, and it shot up to 5. Like, that's what I'm talking about. You got that continuation for 2 or 3 days. And then once it got over 5 and started coming down, I'm like, I lightened up a lot. Now I went from, I think I had over 20,000 shares. I'm down to like 3. But that's what we're getting right now. You know, we're looking at the same thing. Those are exciting. There's like, if we take this as we're surfers, there's really good waves to start the year.
Yeah, that Resolve AI, I do remember this. We actually traded this, I think, on December 19th, which was a Thursday. They did an offering in the evening, and it's actually now higher than that offering, right? That offering drove it down. It actually printed some new highs. So, okay, this is awesome. This is really good stuff, folks. I can't implore you enough. Get all of Adam's top option strategies in one simple training and learn how he finds trades looking to print money every week. Adam from T3, really appreciate it. I'm going to call you my Montana trading buddy. That's just how I'm going to do it.
Yes.
Hope that's okay with you. Adam, can't wait to have you back. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. Look forward to making some gains with you this year.
Be good, Ryan. Thank you.
All right. Take care of yourself. That is Adam Mesh from T3, folks. These guys are awesome. I really appreciate the extra time that we had here with Adam this morning. I hope that you folks found that helpful. A lot of traders looking for a lot of really cool things here. We'll keep talking to them. So the T3 guys, they are really spectacular. With Adam departing, that leaves room for 13. You know what this means, folks. It's time for us to break down the rest of these movers. Let's bring 13 on. 13, how are you doing today, boss?
I'm doing all right. I'm just taking a look at some of these movers and figuring out which ones are crap and which ones are going to be traded by us today.
Okay, awesome. Did you happen to hear what we were just talking about there with the trading some of these things on no news, with what Adam was saying?
Did you see my comment in chat?
I did not. I was focused on talking to him, so I missed it.
No
What
problem.
was it though? Run it back for me.
It was well, he'd love those China pumps.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, don't we love them? I feel like we love them. I feel like we're looking at those every day. So, okay.
Well, for different reasons.
Yeah, but I mean, he brings up a really interesting point, though, and this is something that I'm going to pay particular attention to because, like, even with Hoth, I think is a really good example. How many times have we seen this company come out with news? It pops, everyone gets excited, and then it drops. How many bag holders has this stock produced? So I'm curious to see when we have some of these runners that don't really have news, are they going to be able to kind of stick around and really kind of rip? That was I'm so glad that he brought that up. This is definitely something that I'm going to track and try to take advantage of. So
this is
yeah.
much easier to explain why biotechs rip like this on the news they give and then they come back in. It's very, very simple to understand. There's no mystery to it. These companies are spending money. They're pre-revenue companies, so they don't make money to begin with. They just spend it, and they spend a lot of money because these clinical trials are expensive. They usually that means that they have to pay for people to come in and get treated or try these experimental drugs on. So that's and they have to pay for facilities and for other researchers' time. It's a very expensive endeavor.
Yeah.
Hoth, for example, this is moving because they had phase 2A data. This is one of their pipelines. They have 4 different pipelines. So let's back up a little bit. They have dermatological, oncology, neurological, and inflammatory. Those are the 4 different areas they focus their research on. The one that's the furthest along is dermatological, and that's what the phase 2A results for. So there's still going to be more trials because phase 2A is kind of the middle. There's going to be a phase 2B. I don't know if they need to do more than that, but there's going to definitely be a phase 3. And then they have to still, bring it to market and get FDA approval. So there's a long list of things that need to happen for a company that is spending money and not making any of it. So of course these things are going to come back down. There's no mystery here.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And I think one of the things that you've emphasized for a long time here is how expensive some of those trials can be. So when you get trial news and you get good data, sometimes that means that there's going to be more money that needs to get spent on the next trial.
Yeah. So they have to do offerings. They have to raise capital, and that's going to dilute their shares. And they go through this continuous cycle of a lot of companies like this do, where they have to constantly raise capital by diluting their shares. They have to do a reverse split because sometimes they go underneath $1 or fall out of NASDAQ compliance. And that just leads to the stock getting hammered even more until they raise more capital. Their shares, compress from a reverse split. And it looks like everything is all hunky-dory, and it's very easy to move this again once they have news. At another angle here with Hoth makes it even more appealing than other biotechs. They have been authorized by, I believe it's the CEO or the board of directors, to buy Bitcoin.
So we're seeing more of it, more smaller companies adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet. Yeah,
this is a little bit older news with Hoth, but they have been authorized to buy Bitcoin. It seems like that's going to be a theme this year. Small companies that need to, kind of stay alive, that have a hard time raising money. Well, this might be the way to do it. Just buy Bitcoin, let that rise, and then sell it. You've got your capital raised with no share dilution. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, no, it sure does. It sure does. And actually one of the stories so here, I'm going to go ahead and again throw the Bitcoin, the site that we use, treasuries.bitbo.io, went ahead and threw that there in the chat so you can keep track of it. But 13, I'm not sure if you saw the news here on MicroStrategy 650 target reiterated by analysts with high accuracy. Michael Saylor linked companies' preferred stock offerings will attract insurance companies and banks. Remember, we talked about how he actually uses the stock and the bonds to buy more Bitcoin and add it to the balance sheet. Well, it looks like this is now attracting insurance companies and banks.
That's a little scary.
Well, I mean, they also say it has a 650 price target. MicroStrategy is trading just shy of 400 right now. So they obviously see some upside in that.
I'm not worried about MicroStrategy. I'm worried about these insurance companies. That doesn't seem like a very intelligent use of capital to me, based on what they're supposed to do. They need to be, they need to be like liquid. They need to be able to cover all of their claims. If you're going to go heavy into an asset, where the value rises and decreases, sometimes rapidly, that could mean that you may not have the liquidity to pay out your claims. That's just where my mind was going with that. So maybe it is a good move by insurance companies.
Well, I think
but that's just where my mind's at.
I think on the other side of this, this is kind of why you're seeing some of these smaller companies go this route. Well, whether or not that ends up being bad for insurance companies, I think that's kind of why you're seeing some of the smaller companies do that.
These smaller companies don't have that requirement to maintain that liquidity. I mean, these companies like these biotechs, they can just go absolutely bankrupt, and
yeah, that's true,
and everything will be all fine. But if a major insurer buys a Bitcoin, like let's say it goes down to 70, 60K, well, now all of a sudden they've have a huge hit on their balance sheet, or they don't.
No. Okay, so maybe I read that. So the insurance companies and banks are attracted to Michael Saylor's stock.
Okay.
Not adding Bitcoin to their own. Sorry if I was
okay. No, that's my misunderstanding.
Okay. No, yeah. Sorry if I was unclear about that, but okay. Anyway, let's keep rolling here with some of the movers. I know we're actually we still have 25 minutes. We're still probably pretty good here. Yeah. Next on the list is going to be IMRX. This is one of the bigger movers.
Yep.
Immunoring shares are trading higher after the company released interim data from its 2A trial of IMM-1-104 and IMM-6-415 in advance of RAS and RAF mutant tumors. A mouthful. I don't even know what those are. Just really quickly looking at the price here. Volume is tremendous here on IMRX. Stock's up 86% here today. Just kind of looking at that volume. Stock on average trades just under 1 million shares. We haven't even opened yet. The stock has traded 45.5 million. It's got 23.5 million in the float. Let's check some of the short interest here. Not huge, but worth mentioning, almost 10% of the float shorted here as of the last report, 9.77% and 1.85 days to cover. So maybe you can get some squeeze action out of this one. What do you think here, IMRX? I know we've traded this one before, but some news here about one of its phase 2A trials.
Well, unlike Hoth, this one is just mostly focused on oncology. The two drugs that they have that are part of this phase 2A trial, these are their big drugs they're working on. They have about 3/4 worth of cash, and that's really all I got about this one. I mean, we could start taking a look at some levels. We didn't really do that for Hoth, and I didn't even mention Hoth's financials or float. They've got less than 7 million shares in the float, and they don't need cash, but they might still raise it because of the nature of the different number of trials they have going on. As far as IMRX goes, currently trading beneath the VWAP, and it's coming down off the pre-market high of 564, but it's starting to base. So as long as we continue to go sideways here into the open, this could be a decent spot if we continue to hold up here into the open. We do want to see a recapture of that VWAP, and if we get that, we should see more upside, maybe another test or breakthrough of the pre-market high. So need to get above that VWAP.
Okay, so the one thing that I will say here is on my chart, this is interesting. So I got a 431 VWAP that we're holding on the 1 minute, but on that 5 minute, I've got it at 440 and we're right beneath it. So I have slightly different readings here at the VWAP. We are pretty much right there. I would agree with everything that you just said. We would need to be above that and build. Maybe we can go for that, 565 high there on IMRX.
And let's see here. I mean, this thing is just kind of blasted through it's some previous levels here. Let's see. We're at 430 right now, and that's just under the 460 level, where I would kind of peg some resistance, even though we've traded higher than that. You can see from back in November of 2023, there was a low there around 460. That if we open and we're still beneath or still down here around 430, that could be a level that of resistance trying to make its way back up to the pre-market highs. And then, of course, the next level after that is from February last year.
Also a potential gap area here from 5 to about 580 if we really get going. So you have a potential gap fill on the daily as well.
Yep.
Did you want to go back and do some levels for Hoth? I know we kind of moved past that.
Sure.
That was my fault. If
No
you
worries.
have levels that you want to give out here, that's fine. Again, just kind of looking at the daily chart here, one of the things that I set up, when we were talking with Adam about this, the stock loves to pop and loves to drop. Not one of the stocks that we want to hold. But nonetheless, 13, did you have any levels left over from this that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, so this one, obviously another one that's trading beneath VWAP at the moment on the 5-minute, and levels I have are it's coming down to one that's a support level. That's 155. These are previous levels that I've had for a while since we've traded this thing before. MACD does look like it's rolling over. So if we don't hold 155, the next level down would be 145, and then 130 would be the next support levels on its way down. If we do recapture VWAP, then I'm looking for a 175 upside target. That'll be the next one, followed by the 202 pre-market high, and then 210, and then 250.
Okay, real good stuff there. On Hoth, bonjour, Smoke Tuna. It's good to see you here again. Okay, next one on the list here is going to be MSAI. This is Multi-Sensor AI Holdings. The stock popped in the after hours yesterday, popped again here on a pretty good volume push this morning. Although it's really given back a lot of those gains here. Looks like we had a pre-market high of about 538, back down here at about 335. So MSAI here, Multi-Sensor AI Holding shares trading higher after the company announced management appointments. If we go into it here, it looks like Peter Baird, the company's chief financial officer, has been appointed chief commercial officer to focus on developing commercial relationships while accelerating current sales initiatives. The board has promoted Robert Nadolny, the company's VP controller, to CFO. So looks like you just have a management kind of shift around. We got PR on that after hours. That's driving the stock plus 67.5% here today. Again, we've come off some of those highs. Quick look around here. Short interest, negligible, 1.6 days to cover, just under 1% of the float shorted. 8.73 million shares in the float. This is right in the butter zone of the stocks that we love to trade. So we'll see if this can give us some of the juice that we're looking for here. Don't see much on the insider transactions. 13, what do you have here?
Yeah, so management changes are why it's moving here. Maybe also the fact that it's got AI in the ticker. It does have 8.73 million shares in the float. So like you said, it's in that butter zone. They do have a quarter's worth of cash, so that's a little concerning. They could raise money very soon. It could even be today. So that would be something to keep an eye on. Just be in this, and then get out of it, and then maybe don't touch it afterwards, because I don't know if they're going to raise any cash. They're going to have to, based on how much they burn a quarter. Mm-hmm. So I would think that a capital raise is coming in some form. We don't want to be in this when that happens.
Yeah. I would say that as far as do you have levels on this that you want to go through? Okay, you want to do those? You want me to give mine? I'll just go ahead and say here one of the first things that we're looking at here, this recent low here at 325, definitely needs to hold that. But more importantly than that is going to be this $3 level. This looks to be a level that we kind of were dealing with yesterday when this news first came out. Looks like we kind of broke through this level twice this morning when it was trying to discover its price higher here. I would imagine if the stock continues to come back in at all, $3 is definitely going to be one of those levels. 250, I would say, is probably another one here, but I'll be honest, at that point, I'm going to be looking elsewhere. I think I got some other stuff that might be a better trade than this one. As far as upside levels go, the first one that really kind of jumps off the page here for me is the VWAP. That actually lines up pretty well with one of the recent pre-market highs as well. I think we'll get back up there. That 392 to 4 area likely to provide it some resistance. And then, of course, anytime we have a huge range in the pre-market like we see here up to what did I say? 539. Let's get the exact number there. 538. That this range was created on volume. If this thing really picks up again, a lot is gonna depend on that volume. If it really picks up again, I do think that 538 is possible, but we'll see. We'll see if we end up getting there. What do you have here for levels?
Just agreement. I mean, that level you outlined, 325, 330. When we first got this impulse move yesterday in the after hours, it went right there. Couldn't close above that particular level, so that was resistance. Was resistance again later on that same after. I'm sorry, this morning when it had that initial pop right up to that same level, rejected again. It wasn't until about an hour later we actually broke through that 325, 330 level and held. So we held that all the way up through that big move, that the volumetric one that took us into the 530s.
Mhm.
Now we're using that 520. I'm sorry, that 325, 330 level as support. So to your point, yes, we want to see that hold. MACD is showing that it's curling. This looks like it's trying to get back to its VWAP, maybe even more. To your point about that high from 5 a.m. in the morning when we broke through the 330 level and got up to where about the VWAP is now. Absolutely a resistance level to watch for. If we break through that, then we could really start to get going. But we'll have to be much more careful about how we trade it, because I think this is one of the companies that could still raise capital, and we don't want to be on the wrong side of this thing when it's absolutely taking off and they halt it for an offering. So maybe there's a few trades off of the VWAP breakout, but other than that, I think that we just need to be patient and wait for it to set up, and it's almost there.
Okay. Good stuff there. Do have some more. And folks, I see you asking about some tickers out there. It looks like we're going to get to all of those. The penny stocks will likely have to wait till we open up here, but definitely some more stocks here on this list. This next one here, HCWC. This is Healthy Choice Wellness. Which is interesting because we've talked about maybe some of these companies being a theme. This did pop in the after hours yesterday. Looks like it's bleeding back some of those gains today. Healthy Choice Wellness shares are trading higher. The company reported Q4 financial results yesterday morning. Looks like they were pretty good. Revenue is up 24%. Looks like the stock just has some continued momentum here today. Basically it for the news. This did pop in the after hours, come back in. What do you think on this one here, 13? HCWC.
Let's take a look here. I was responding to somebody.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries. Okay, so this is oh wait, this is that food like that snack company, right?
Yeah, they're engaged in providing consumers with healthier daily choices with respect to nutrition and other lifestyle alternatives. The company was one reportable segment, which is natural and organic retail stores.
Yeah, I could have sworn I've seen a lot of their products on shelves. We've seen them on shelves for a while. The news was their earnings. So let's see here. I don't have a read on their float. Doesn't look like the greatest balance sheet, but it's not bad. Not profitable. I mean, until this quarter, right? Is that what this quarter was saying? Is that they finally turned a profit? Or I don't have a read on their net income as of this moment. I'd have to look.
Yeah, well, they just said that their revenue is up here. I was basically just going from the head. Their sales here, 19.6 million. Revenue reached 69.3 million.
Yeah, I'm seeing, gross margin performance, gross. So it sounds to me like they're still losing money. Well, I mean, if this is getting a lot of attention on it, then certainly let's trade it. Let me go to the chart here. And
I mean, I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. I would just given some of the other stocks that we have in the list here, this would probably be lower on my list. This is really just kind of given up. It has not really showed any strength here in the pre-market. So really, I mean, levels are great, but until this thing can show some type of strength, I think we probably have better targets elsewhere.
I agree. I think there are some better things to trade, but I'll do levels regardless because these have some pretty, clear ones. For example, this 135 level, I'm just going to say it's 135. That seems to have been support this morning after we got this the breakout yesterday, and it's only because of the price action from the end of last year and the first trading day of this year, where we kind of went sideways up at this that 135 area. So that has kind of created a bit of a support area. And you can see if you back out a little bit, so you can see on your time frame. the past few trading days. There you go. You can see it right there where we got support. So that would be an important level to hold if we're going to see more upside. If we lose that level, I would just look for something else. Consider this done.
Yeah. Okay. Fairly simple there.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, next here is going to be Getty. Now, we've already spent some time talking about this news here. Getty Images and Shutterstock announced a merger for $3.7 billion here. Getty, Gety is obviously the ticker here for Getty Images. Shutterstock, the other company involved in this deal, the ticker is SSTK. Both of those stocks are up here. In fact, both of those pre-market charts look the same. SSTK up here at about $30. Getty down here at about $3. So this is going to be that small mover here. I totally had an awesome little anecdotal story there from Adam earlier about using one of their quote unquote free images and then getting a bill for misusing the image. It's funny now that he's mentioned that too. That's happened here. I don't know if it's happened here with Getty, but I know that that's happened here. Definitely frustrating. Anyway, that's what's going on with the stock. You can see the volume really telling the story here was huge in the pre-market. We popped as high as 5. We've really kind of come back in and we've held this 360, 350 area. We are trying to curl back up here. I have the VWAP at 412. We'll see if we get there. Short interest on GETY, 15.8% of the float is shorted, 10.3 days to cover. Definitely has some type of a squeeze effect that could be going on here. As far as the actual structure here, float 38.5 million, so not as low as we normally see, but still some things can still happen here with this one. You got anything here on GETY?
Well, I'm just got Shutterstock on here on my screen at the moment, and they both seem to be squeezing. So this news is great for both of them, and it's giving them pretty much the exact same results here. With I honestly don't know who's getting the better deal because I haven't looked at any information regarding the merger. But it seems like this is kind of a mutual thing. So they both could end up running. Like it doesn't seem like one's taking over the other. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It seems like they're just like, yeah, you know what? We probably would work better if we just combined our companies and just watch both of our stocks just take off. So that's what's happening here. Seems like on the business side, Getty is the worst one off. I would just based on the price action. Let me look at the financials. Things in the way again. So Getty looks okay. Their balance sheets are fine. I mean, it just seems like this is just going to mutually benefit both companies. We'll be able to trade both these, no problem. It just looks like Shutterstock has the better setup at the moment on the 5-minute. So that's about all I got with this one. I think anything else I say would just be speculation.
Okay, and we'll see how both of these trade. We can trade them both here today. Again, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I really want to draw attention to this and shout this out. This is one of the huge benefits here of Benzinga Pro. We talk a lot about news and how it can move stocks and all that. I have my rumor category, so any piece of news that gets categorized as a rumor. I have my platform highlighting that in this purple color that you see here on the screen so that it sticks out like a sore thumb. On Friday, 2:32 Eastern, we had Bloomberg, quote, Getty Images Holdings is exploring a merger deal with rival Shutterstock. Okay, so that was a rumor from Friday, January 3rd. That was in the afternoon. I had on Monday here at 8:46 a.m. Getty Images weighs major merger with Shutterstock that could potentially reshape the visual content market. Worth noting at the end of the day on Friday, Getty, the stock was up 16% to 242. That's 377 here today. So on the actual news of that deal, on the news of that merger, excuse me. Benzinga Pro, aggregating news, this is why it's important. This is a great example of a rumor that you got here that ended up coming to fruition. I think that the best trade is probably over on those names. Now that I've kind of given it the announcer jinx, and I've said that, maybe they'll go ham today, and you folks will all be ready for that. But in any case, shout out to Benzinga Pro having this rumor flagged on Friday, January 3rd. It's January 7th here today when we're actually getting that. So big shout out there. Okay, I know we're running out of time here. 6 minutes left. I did want to cover, I think, three more here real quick. AUR, this is Aurora Innovation. Aurora shares are trading higher after the company announced a partnership with NVIDIA. We even talked about this being a potential theme to look out for, with NVIDIA's Drive Thor and Drive OS to be integrated into the Aurora Driver 13. We had news, I don't know if you saw it, we had news earlier on from CES about NVIDIA and Uber partnering on AI technology for autonomous cars. We had NVIDIA and Toyota. The operating system looks to power Toyota's next generation vehicle, which might also include autonomous cars. So we're seeing a lot of news about that here. AUR, one of the smaller stocks involved in that, that's popping the stock here today. Do you have anything on this one? It's a little bit shorted here.
Well, the thing that's really interesting to me is how many companies are partnering with NVIDIA to, do autonomous driving. Remember how we had the news with Microsoft and BlackBerry yesterday?
Yep.
That was the most interesting piece of news, because I remember BlackBerry had partnered with Amazon to develop the Ivy platform from their QNX software. QNX is in over 250 million vehicles around the world. Almost every new car that gets made has QNX in it. So I'm wondering if Microsoft's about to be a major player in automotive, self-driving and automated transportation, not just with cars either, like maybe even EV tolls. Just based on the fact that BlackBerry is so important to today's vehicles in terms of managing not just their infotainment software, but all the different sensors and devices that monitor the car systems. All go through QNX. So I'm really thinking that there might be something bigger at play here with Microsoft and BlackBerry, and that Microsoft could be a big player in the autonomous driving. So when I see stuff like this with other companies, and there's more, they're partnering with NVIDIA to do autonomous driving with Aurora Driver, apparently what this one is, it always brings me back to who's going to be the big player that's going to be helping with the systems that manage all these automated and self-driving vehicles. That could end up being Microsoft and BlackBerry. So it all circles around that. Now, as far as Aurora goes, this looks like it was a SPAC at one point. Seems like this was a SPAC from 2021, and looks like it's already de-SPACed, and now we're right on the doorstep of that SPAC price. So we get through 10, this could end up running probably like it did last time, all the way up to almost 18.
Okay. Real good stuff there. AUR, I've got this here right at the VWAP. We'll see where this goes here. Real quick, the Phoenix. Hello, could you please upscale the stream to 1080p? Yeah, I'm sorry that it's at 720p. We actually normally run these streams at 1080p. I'll have my producer look into that. Sorry about that. If there's anything that you need clarification from in the meantime off the screen, go ahead and ask. I'd be happy to shout that out. Like I said, we do normally run the stream in 1080p, so you should be able to see what's on the screen. Appreciate that feedback, by the way. Appreciate you mentioning that. Okay, real quickly, I did want to touch on Nari. This is Inari Medical. Inari Medical shares are trading higher after Stryker agreed to acquire the company for $80 per share. The stock was what? I think like $48. Yeah, or no, what? 65. This thing's closed at about 65 yesterday. That was after a $15 move. Jay, I know that you mentioned that you finally got paid on Nari. So we're going to start you off with a 1-up and a register ring here today. Really, really good stuff. And then the other thing that Jay mentioned when he had said that is he gave you some other tickers here. So on this news for NARI, he's given you a couple of other tickers that have potential buyout deals. The two that really stick out here, LNTH and VKTX. We've talked a lot about those having potential deals. TMDX, MAGL, and SRPT Sarepta. as well. So really good stuff there, Jay. Congrats on your win, and I appreciate you giving some more possible merger targets here. With this merging, I don't really know that there's much for us to cover. I just wanted to shout this out because our group has talked about this.
Real quick, I'm just going to answer a conditional acceptance question. What is Deere using for autonomous? They use a software called Auto Track Turn Automation. It's more of a farming or agricultural machining software. So not like QNX, where it's more meant for public roads.
Okay. Good stuff there. Real quick, Ryan Milligan.
10 seconds.
Yep. I know we're about to open here. Ryan Milligan, two things that I wanted to cover here. First of all, you had asked, Fubo going to keep going today? I don't know if it's going to keep going up today, but given yesterday's day, this is definitely a play today for relative volume. Good to see you again. Happy New Year, Ryan. A great name, obviously. And then Ryan also saying, I spent some time in Phoenix last week. I didn't try the Waymo driverless cars, but they're more expensive than a normal taxi. Ryan, I'm with you. I just did the regular old Ubers. Forget that autonomous stuff. Okay, we are open. Let's see what's going on here. Hoth looks like that right at the VWAP. IMBZ, this is another one we didn't really cover. I'm sorry, 13. Innova shares are trading higher after the company announced it to showcase its perception software at CES. We talked about CES being a theme for a lot of these smaller stocks. None of this should be a surprise. This also has the Drive AGX headline on it. This is popping right here out of the gate. Okay, 13, I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. I didn't really have anything to say. I'm just kind of looking around, seeing what's looking good. As far as the three that we were trading or talking about this morning, Hoth, that one's beneath its VWAP. The MACD is indicating this could go lower if we don't, and we might if we don't hold up this 155, 150 level. IMRX, where is that? There we go. This one also heading lower out of the gate. Trying to get some support from the 65 EMA. Probably just might have to wait for some of these to just shed their weight at the beginning here. MSAI, this one also down, coming to the 200 EMA. This one almost all the way back to where it was in the after hours after the initial pop. So that might be a good support level. Just kind of waiting for some of these to shake out before we start trading them.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Rustam, I saw that you were posting earlier. Good morning, Rustam. You said you were in IMRX from a long time ago. You also get a register ring and a one-up here today. Okay, Izzy, good morning. You were talking about Uber yesterday. Now we're getting that news from CES here. Uber up 3.7%. This actually looks like it's trying to go higher. Sorry, which ticker was that, 13?
Folks in chat were mentioning RVSN, Rail Vision. This is moving.
Ex-girlfriend right there, yep. Rail Vision, by the way.
Ex-girlfriend, yep. 219 was the pre-market high. Popped up there, came down to VWAP. We just recaptured it. Trying to push back up to pre-market high again. Let me see what this is going on here. They entered a memorandum of understanding with Suhan Ventures. This is an Indian rail supplier. So that's interesting too, because we were just talking about how some of the which countries would be a good place to put some money to compete. That's going to outperform against the S&P, and we were looking at some of the S&P. We're looking at the S&P and some of these other countries like in South America and India and Asia. Some of these have been really, really hammered, while the SPY has done really well. So we could see an inverse of that at some point. That's what we were kind of wondering if we might end up getting some of that. Now we're having some news headlines come across with more businesses dealing with Indian companies. So maybe India is going to be a big theme. Looks like we also. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we actually talked about India being a possible theme and replacing maybe even China as the world's manufacturing companies. This is not a new thing that we've discussed either. Mm-hmm. By the way, real quick, not to change tracks here, you can definitely go back, but Fubo, which we just talked about, that dipped right out of the open and just reclaimed the VWAP here on this bounce. So this actually looking like this might have some juice to go here. FUBO. Sorry, get back in there, 13.
No worries. So we have IMRX and Hoth. Hoth might be getting some support. IMRX not doing so well. MSAI just provided a trade after that nice bounce close to the support level we were just mentioning that it got into the after hours yesterday. This was trying to get back up to its VWAP. Don't know if we'll see a breakthrough of that or not, but at the moment, it's got to deal with this supply that was created in the pre-market hours. That's going to be between 3:30 and looks like about 3:55.
Fubo, nice little move higher there. This is going to be your first resistance area. I just took that trade off. So 1 for 1 here today. Going to start small. Jay mentioning NBIS is working well. That's the AI play that we've traded here before. I guess story trading still on this one, looking pretty good for a 33 breakout there.
Yeah.
Did you have one? Did I run you over there? Sorry.
Nope. No, you didn't. Let's see here. We can go through some of these other ones as well that we usually trade. I mean, Cooler, that one's lower out of the gate.
DATS here, this popping right to the VWAP.
Looks like Hoth is trying to come back up to VWAP. Now, if it doesn't recapture it, that's going to give us a bit of a bear flag formation, and it could head lower. So let's see if we get a recapture of VWAP in Hoth. IMRX trying to get some support as well. Still wait for that one. MSAI, that was a nice initial bounce. That's lower now, coming up to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. So a little bit weaker out of the gate. How does the SPY do? I haven't even taken a look at the SPY this morning.
Actually, you know what? Neither do I. Have my note sheet. SPY's actually fractionally higher here, up about 0.25%. POAI, this is one we talked about from yesterday. This is actually trying to go here. Fubo still at that resistance level that we just talked about. That pre-market high area has not had the strength to take that out yet.
G-Man mentioning Archer, and then Captain Cloudy is also saying Tesla is going.
Okay, well, let's start with Captain Cloudy because that's just an awesome handle. Tesla here, this was a little bit lower in the pre-market. We actually talked about some of that news on Tesla. This did pop back to 410, although it looks like it's having trouble going red to green. Nice little pop out of the open there. What was the other one that got mentioned there? G-Man by ACHR by G-Man.
That one popped up to 12, so that was a new, almost a new 4-year high. Getting up to 12 there. Not until February will we have 4-year highs, but it seems like it's coming in a little bit here after that initial pop over 12. Archer feels very extended at this stage, and it could go a little bit higher, but I think I don't think I'd be buying up here with this one. I think this is a one to let cool off a little bit, maybe come back in. We've had some really absolutely phenomenal moves since November. Get a little bit pull back in December, early December, but still continue to rip. I think this one may need some time to chill out a bit, maybe even lose the 20-day SMA. It's been riding that up since November, so I'm not a buyer of Archer up here. I'm more of a seller.
That makes a lot of sense too, given some of the different price ranges that we've seen there in Archer. Really quickly, NVIDIA here, this is selling right out of the open. We had all that good news that we talked about. We had a really, really strong pre-market here with NVIDIA. Only makes sense that the first move is down. Now, I will say on this move down, right to where we closed yesterday, seeing a lot of NVIDIA calls getting bought here coming across the unusual option tape. So NVIDIA, biggest repeat call or repeat stock that I've seen here this morning. They range anywhere from that 149, 150, 152 calls. So it looks like options players on NVIDIA buying this dip, at least so far.
Hoth with a big impulse candle right through VWAP, right up to some pre-market highs, not the pre-market high, but pretty close. Got up to 188. This, if we hold above VWAP, this could push up through the pre-market high of 202. So something I'm watching right now.
And pulled right back. So this is really interesting. So Hoth traded right up to that pre-market high spot, very much like Fubo. It was actually rejected here. Now, if we take a look really quick at Fubo, this actually went through it. Now, it did kind of find some resistance there. I actually sold the scalp at that point. Now we're kind of moving through it. We'll see if this actually sets up for another trade. Ryan, let me know if you're trading Fubo here again. This is a nice little rip out of the open. FUBO.
If there's some folks that are looking for a short, I talked about one in happy hour yesterday because there is a windstorm coming for Southern California that's also got a red flag fire advisory in the same area for Los Angeles and surrounding counties. EIX is Edison International, and they are the parent company to Southern California Edison, the major utility provider out there in Southern California. So if we have that wind storm, which in the past they have taken down power lines and caused a host of other problems, we have the fires that could also get exacerbated with the winds blowing them around as well. Could be very bad news for Edison International in the short term. So this could be an interesting short. This windstorm is supposed to happen sometime between today and tomorrow. So looking at the EIX Edison chart, it looks not great. It looks like it wants to go lower, maybe even
Sure does.
Maybe even start to go down into the 75 area. So this could end up being a pretty good short if this is something that bears are interested in. Just wanted to point that out there if people that trade options or like the short stocks, if they want to do something like this. This one looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think what I like the most here, we had a nice little bounce off that 200-day. We traded back up to the 20-day, rejected. And then when we came back down to the 200-day, we lost that. And we lost it on volume, and we closed beneath it. Now what this sets up for is this 77.5, very, very clear double bottom on the daily chart here. 13, to your point, I think if this breaks, you could easily see 72.5 here. And I mean, you're giving us a real world catalyst for this as well. Really good stuff. I don't have a position on this, but I like this. One thing that I will say here today, if this thing, I know we're at 78.18 here, down about 0.3, but if this thing trades back up to the 200 and gets rejected, I think that's absolutely a short entry there. Yeah. So I appreciate you bringing this here to the group. Not often that we bring up short setups here, but here we go. Good stuff there. 13 potential trade idea.
No problem.
Fubo continue. Oh, my thing. Let me just go ahead and load that back. Sorry about that. As I was trying to say right when that happened, Fubo continuing to rip to the highs here. So it looks like it did take that out. Ryan, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. This is a good call on Fubo. Oops, I didn't share the screen. Come on, well, you have to click through, Ryan, in order to do it. Here you go. So let me bring Fubo up here real quick so we can look at it together. And again, I'm sorry about the 720p here. This was the area that we went right through here. Also through 6. Looks like we're finding some resistance up here. 650 going to be another spot to keep an eye at. If we break that, volume looks really good here. If we break that, you could see some more upside here. FUBO today.
Reddit is getting some big movement right now. RDDT.
Is there news or what's going on with Reddit?
I didn't see any news. I just saw that it was moving.
Okay.
Let me take a look and see if there's any news.
Yeah, I don't see anything fresh here.
No. This seems to be what everybody likes to trade.
Ryan saying, let's go Fubo. It was risky, but the move yesterday was huge. Ryan, this is exactly why we will often mention relative volume plays, because they could be risky. Yeah, the news could be a little bit stale, but the action the day before will sometimes bring new eyes to that stock the day after. We're going to keep mentioning that. Looks like you're getting that here in Fubo today.
We're getting asked about Tesla levels. So one of the things we've been watching for is that 20-day SMA to see if it was going to reject the price. And so far that has been what's happened. Yesterday, we tried to get over it. And not only did we get rejected, it fell beneath the, I think it was the 415, I think I had, the 415 level. We're now beneath that. So if we start trading back up to 415, I think that a rejection there could be coming. That would be something I'd be watching for. And if we do end up going through that, there's still the 20-day SMA that could also reject it. So 415, the 20-day SMA, two resistance areas. And if we continue to go lower, well, obviously the 400 psychological level, but 390 would be another level beneath it that I'd be watching for.
Okay, here you go on Tesla. This having a move higher here. We've it looks like we've retraced about 50% of the down move from the open yesterday on Tesla. So we'll see how long that stays strong here. Good stuff there on Tesla. Crow mentioning that he's still in Getty, G-E-T-Y. I think you said you had 377 as your entry on that, Crow. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Getty did sell off out of the open here, held one of the pre-market areas where this reversed and is now trading higher. I've got VWAP at 404. Actually, you know what this did? On your 5-minute, this just bounced clean off the 65 EMA on the 5-minute 13.
Love to see it.
Yep, you just love to see that there. Really good stuff there, Crow.
All right, cycling around to some of these movers from this morning.
Dow leading the way higher here, by the way, by 0.4. So things have changed since this morning.
MSAI lost 200 EMA. This thing continuing to fall. Maybe the next support is around 260. Hoth appears to be going sideways. Currently trading beneath the VWAP. It's trading down now, but still kind of sideways for the most part within this consolidation range of about 145 to 190. It seems to be where the majority of consolidation is since pre-market. So whenever we break one of those levels, whether it be to the downside or the upside, I think that's going to give us the direction for a short period of time.
Hoth here looking like this is going to try and just kind of go right through that VWAP.
IMRX trying to turn around, volume not looking great, so no telling if this is going to be able to get back above some of these EMAs or even back to VWAP. We would need to see the volume expand some more. So until that happens, IMRX looking pretty weak.
And you're seeing mostly selling volume too. So it sure seems to me that these are either people playing from the gap from yesterday or from the pre-market taking the L on the position. This thing turned around 565. Is down over 2 points from those highs. AUR, this actually looks like this might try to take out your intraday high. Volume looks good. Getty volume starting to expand, Crow. I got to imagine that this is what you wanted here. See if we can actually break through that 403 VWAP and get us to this area that we were consolidating above 450 to maybe let's call it 475-ish, 4 3/4 in there. Want to see this volume continue to expand. A little bit of a pull here on Getty. Here's RVSN, the ex-girlfriend from earlier. Looks like this broke down. Let me put a 5-minute chart. Okay, so we're still about 11 cents away from that 65 EMA on the 5. I think RVSN has some more room to come in here. NMRA, Numora Therapeutics. This one wasn't even on my list. Sorry.
Hoth trying to come back. It's in the process of trying to recapture VWAP. So maybe that one gets going. Rail Vision does look like it's trying to turn around as well. Seems like it just got support from the bottom of the consolidation channel that it's in. So needs to get back above VWAP, but Rail Vision and Hoth seem to be trying to turn around.
Yeah, I've got Hoth literally flirting with the VWAP right now. I got Fubo pulling back towards the VWAP. What was the other one that you had?
Rail Vision.
Rail Vision, RVSN. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Now, those seem to be the interesting ones that are trying to turn around right now.
Smoke Tuna saying Hoth is not ready. Smoke Tuna, if I recall correctly, the last time that we traded Hoth, we made a bunch of bad Star Wars jokes about them being at the Hoth system, but also I think you had a monster reversal call on Hoth, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, we're making smells bad on the outside jokes.
Yep. mRNA, I think, Chris, you had mentioned this one earlier. This did blast off from the open here, 3 points higher out of the open. Did we have news or something on Moderna? Why is this going all of a sudden? I guess maybe just on bird flu stuff?
What I was going to say is there's a lot of news headlines coming out of China about it, that HMPV respiratory illness being on the rise and exacerbating other illnesses. I think that the scare is coming back.
Okay. Never again. As I said in Happy Hour yesterday, I'll reiterate it here. LIDR, this is a huge rip to the upside here. LIDR up 70%.
Wow.
Big rip on ticker AI here. If you look at the 1-minute chart, it really kind of tells a story. Impulse move, little bit of consolidation, the build above VWAP that we love to see, and then answered with another volume spike, that breaking us to new highs here. 4 looks to be the upside target there on LIDR. Did we have news on this one? No, just some SEC.
Archer
Warm 8.
Archer hitting the 1240s now. That this thing, like I said, I would not be buying this. I'd be selling it on these kinds of moves. This thing is getting extended on the daily. It's over 70 RSI now on the daily. So if you're going to be picking this up, I'd be very careful with your entries on Archer. This thing is very extended.
Okay, ENVX Steve here mentioning ENVX wearable AI battery purchase order from Silicon Valley on ENVX. I did see that on my list earlier, although I don't see it now. Let me take a look and see where that's at here, Steve. ENVX, yeah, no wonder I saw this earlier. It must have just been trading down. That impulse move back tested the VWAP. This is trying to go higher here. Watch that area at 1620 for a potential break higher.
That one healthy choice that you mentioned earlier, that's trying to turn around after hitting 125.
That's HCWC, Healthy Choice Wellness. You're absolutely right, 13. This on its way back to the VWAP here.
Also, MSAI, multi-sensor AI, that might have found a bottom around 265. That's pretty close to where the pre-market bottom was after the first move. So might be finding a bottom MSAI. I'm not excited about it quite yet. I think it still could come in, but it's trying to turn around. Just thought it would be worth mentioning.
Carvana here up about 8%. 13, I got to ask you something on the Carvana chart here. I'm going to bring up a bigger one. CVNA. Here's your daily chart. So here's your Carvana. Here's your cup. Do we have a cup and handle? Would you have liked to seen this come into the 200-day? Is this what do we think here? Carvana, potential chart trade here.
I think I would have liked to see it get back up to the all-time highs before pulling.
Okay. So you wanted a more even cup.
Yeah, but let me see. Let me just take a look at it on my chart here. Let's see what we got. Because I don't know that I can see how some would call it a cup. I'm not sure. I could draw a trend line. That's for sure. So that'd be something to watch to break. But let's say that this. Gosh, I didn't even get down to the 200-day SMA. I really don't know.
Okay. Look, I figured this could kind of go either way. It's got the basic forming, the basic shape formed here, but you're right. Handle doesn't look like it came down to the 200-day. We do have kind of a janky top there. I went ahead and added that trend line, by the way. I'm just taking a liberty here. I'm assuming this is what you were talking about. Went ahead and added that. We'll see if we get back there on Carvana.
If anything, and I'm looking at a much larger time frame here, going back to the beginning of this, it seems like we're trading in a very large descending triangle.
Okay.
So now if we do come back up and let's say we break through 270, then we won't be in a descending triangle. But that would be something to watch for. We just if you drew that trend line from the August 2021 highs through the highs that we made last year in November, that would be the trend to watch for. If we cannot break through that, then I think we're coming back down.
Okay. I actually just have data going back to October of 2021, so I don't quite have that data point there. Okay. Let me go back to the main scanner here. It does look like or a main workspace here, excuse me. Does look like there's a lot going on. LIDR, folks, that does seem to be the top mover of the day, at least so far here. Smoke Tuna saying that this could go to 5. Might see 5 today. I really would like to see more of a pullback here to the VWAP, although it is doing a decent job holding 4 here. 13, give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Sure. I'm just taking a look here, see what we got. 430 was the high. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out where some levels are in this. It seems like this could go higher because I don't think we've quite hit where the big resistance is. So I see your point about 5. That's where the big resistance really starts to come into play. You have a lot of consolidation about that level from back in the spring into the summer of last year. we did pop up. I'm sorry, that was 2023. Last year, in the same time, May, we did end up popping up slightly higher than 5. So I see your point about 5, how this could get up there. I tend to agree. We could get up to 5 in LIDR. Now, where we go after that depends on the volume. If we can chew through that consolidation that we have from about 5, let's say it's 515 to 725. That could, if we chew through that, then we could probably see 14, 21. We could see some crazy levels. But you're thinking about buying a put in Carvana line? Just be careful, because we've seen, remember, I don't need to tell you to be careful, but we've seen some of these that they just hey, they squeeze these shorts out, and Carvana could be one that does that, exactly that. So just something to keep in the back of your head. I don't think I need to tell you that, though.
Okay, what did I miss while I was gone? 280 price target on Carvana.
We were just talking levels on LIDR. Now folks are mentioning laser.
Yeah, laser's continuing to trade up here as well.
So these are all. So, and then I also think I saw microvision getting a mention as well.
MVIS, yep.
So it seems to me like if you think back to during the pandemic, when all of the EV thing behind the thing stocks were starting to move, well, we're starting to get that again now, because apparently out of CES, the whole show is a buzz with autonomous driving. So LiDAR is coming back, microvision's coming back. All of these things behind the things are coming back.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm really happy about that, because we talked about it. We talked about, hey, keep your ears open for what's going on at CES. I had a bunch of news that I ran down this morning that had to do with autonomous driving. Are we really surprised to see a bunch of these small stocks reacting and trading the way they are? I know I'm not.
No, use CES as a guide this week for your tech trades. It goes all the way to the 10th. So and they got their whole schedule online. Use that as a guide for this particular week.
Wiss mentioning PTPI FDA news here on PTPI. This is a penny stock. Looks like this did pop here. What is the news? Petros Pharmaceuticals positioned to lead fixed to OTC. Oh, FTX to OTC, excuse me. Switch market with proprietary AI, quantum computing. Wow. So they're throwing AI and quantum computing into this. This is driving it higher here. Okay. Well, that's a pretty good PR, I guess, there on PTPI. I'm going to pass on this one. It looks like we did pop as high as 65 cents. Come back in on that. Aurora's on CNBC. Oh, my CNBC stream froze here. What happened? Where's my mouse?
Get Office Assistant to find the mouse.
Yeah, well, Office, yeah, he'll cause more harm than good. I'm afraid. Izzy, what are they saying there about that? And AUR, let's see if that's actually affecting. And I got all kinds of issues going on.
LiDAR next leg. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to get ready to go higher, doesn't it? Volume isn't as great as it was on these other impulse moves, so we need to see a little bit more expansion of that. But it is above VWAP still. We just brought a big bid to try to pull it down.
This is LIDR. Sorry, I'm messing around too much with my other computer here. All right. Here is your LIDR. Let's see if we get a potential VWAP test here. I'm actually watching this. I've got this queued up in the prop. We'll see if we hold VWAP here.
I don't know if this is what's happening, but just be careful with Rail Vision. It looks like it's run out of steam trying to get above 215. Okay. Tried it in the pre-market, only got as high as 219, came back in beneath VWAP. Same thing just happened after the open, got to 215, came beneath VWAP. Might get some support around somewhere around 175, but that's beneath where we're at now. So I think maybe either give Rail Vision more time or look for something else.
Okay. LIDR, I do see a little bit of a bid kind of supporting this here at 375, VWAP at 370. We'll see if this bounces here. Real quickly, William. Good morning, William. Asking, how about MU? All right, that's of course going to be Micron. If we take a look at MU here, Micron is actually having a really good day. I believe that the Micron chips were used in that $3,000 AI book product that Jensen Huang talked about yesterday. Let me see. Let me consult the article here.
Hoth is getting some volume. It's just got a big impulse candle going on here, trying to take out 180, but there's a large size.
Okay, so here is Hoth in the moment. The volume candle looks good. We are above the VWAP. I'm going to leave this on screen, but really quickly, William, regarding MU, not surprised to see how that's trading here today. Here's the article. This is not mentioned in here. Maybe I saw this on CNBC. Anyway, I think Micron is benefiting today from NVIDIA's products that they talked about yesterday. I think there's probably some more upside here on Micron. When I get a sec, let me look at a longer term chart for you.
Didn't Micron guide lower?
Here, let me pull this up because I actually don't have all that stuff memorized.
Yes.
Carvana, by the way, that did try to pop when we were talking about it last. That's come in a little bit here. Here is Micron. Well, remember we had I think right around the holidays, we had Paul Meeks on here that said that their report was not very good and that this might actually spread to other stocks. I do remember that.
So
Micron, yeah, go ahead.
The thing with Micron is that it's still having struggles trying to get above the 200-day SMA, and we're coming back up for another test here. So I think I'm not going to make any predictions on whether or not it breaks through or not, but this is a moving average to watch. So I think if we get rejected here, then we do go back down. If it does break out here, then it could start to continue higher. But I don't want to make any predictions on what's going to happen because it's going to be one or the other.
Okay. And interestingly enough, Micron, some news here today regarding collaborations with Pure Storage, energy efficient solutions for hyperscale data centers. Also unveiled the new crucial P510 solid state drive. I wonder what kind of speeds they're getting there. Looking at a longer chart here on Micron. William, the big thing to me is what happens here at the 200-day, right? Because look, the last time I actually left it on the chart here. The last time that we tried to set up a long side trade was going to be on the recapture of the 50-day, which is this yellow line. Again, I'm sorry about the quality of the stream. I'll give you some numbers here. Yellow line, when we crossed over that 103.60, that took us right to the 200-day where we were rejected. Then we had those earnings that gapped us down to the 500-day. So that's why all of these moving averages are kind of in play here. That long side trade actually worked. You had to be quick. But we'll see here what happens at 110.5 on that 200-day moving average. That's what I'd be looking at.
Hoth up to the intraday highs. Also,
here you go.
Getting close to some of the pre-market highs. The pre-market high 202. So it's got to get through a good amount of shares in order to go higher than that. But if we do break through, if we do get through that, 210 is the next level, followed by 250.
So Hoth breaking out here, going for 2, but the entire market pulling here. S&P 500, Dow, NASDAQ, all pulling here. Jolts, this just happened? Yeah, sure did. ISM, non-manufacturing prices for December, 64.4 versus the 57.5 estimate. Prior read was 58.2. Hot number there. ISM, non-manufacturing PMI for December, 54.1 versus 53.5. Prior read was 52.1. And the JOLTS job openings for November, 8.09 million versus the 7.7 million estimate. Prior read was 7.8. All those numbers hot there. SPY continuing to trade down here. 594 looks to be the level that it's trying to hold right now. S&P futures trying to hold on to 6,000.
All right. Sorry, I was just, there it goes. Hoth. Hoth is on a tear now, looking for 250.
Nice breakout here on Hoth.
Now for Hoth,
and LiDAR, by the way, just gave up that VWAP right back down to a previous support area. So we'll see if it can bounce here, but the selling volume looking pretty bad. Going back to you on Hoth here, 13.
yeah, I don't know how much more Hoth has. So this is the kind of move where I would start thinking about selling, maybe even raising stops or putting a trailing stop on, because this is the move we were waiting for, and we could get more of these throughout the day. I don't know how many more we're going to get, because remember, this is a company that does nothing but lose money. So just be careful with this one. If you were in beneath VWAP, you're probably doing really well, and maybe just raise your stops or consider taking some profit, because there's no telling on a day like today what some of these biotechs will do.
Okay, I like that too. What is going? I like the thought there. Sorry, I'm having a lot of trouble with my other computer here. I don't know what's going on. I like that the move here with Hoth. We talked about that really kind of popping and dropping. Be sure to take those gains when you get them. You got them here on Hoth. We'll see. Good stuff there. Nice expanding volume too, right out of that breakout. That was well done. That spot was well done there.
And now we look for something else. That's doing good. So healthy choice. That was another good one. That ended up breaking up through VWAP. That's looks like it wants to try to go higher. We are dealing with some consolidation in the pre-market right now between 160 to, let's call it 175. So going to need some more volume to get through that. But if it does, then we're going to come up to probably in the 180s. From there, between $1.80 and $2, it's going to have another set of consolidation to deal with, and then we'll be into a breakout territory where there's it's just blue skies. Looks like it's blue skies for a little while.
Okay, real quickly regarding the CES stuff, Jay here, all about NVIDIA. Sell the event. So Jay, not impressed. Not impressed. Sell the news event. It looks like with that NVIDIA conference. How's NVIDIA doing here? I know we sold off out of the open on NVIDIA. Lower we go. Wow. So another leg down here. Jay, as far as NVIDIA goes, I think you're absolutely right. Sell the event, it looks like. Rays is saying it wasn't Jensen's day, but the NVIDIA show was great. All that, this is one of the things that the producer and I were talking about this morning. The products look awesome. Producer actually floated a question here. What do you think it would take for people to move from like Apple's ecosystem to NVIDIA? I mean, the first thing I would think it would need a phone, but I wonder if NVIDIA might be able to take market share from Apple.
I think you would want to look and see what the texting aspect of it does. One of the things that a lot of people that have Apple products give non-Apple users a lot of crap over is the color of their chat buttons.
It makes me laugh. Maybe start there. Talk about it every time. 13.
Maybe start there. That would be an okay starting point, I think.
We'll see. We'll see if NVIDIA actually ends up challenging it. I know they just do chips here, but it was an interesting question we kind of kicked around before the show started. Figured I'd ask you guys. He had a new leather jacket. That was impressive. Yo, Tom Ford. That's how that goes, Crow. That jacket probably cost a pretty penny too. But he's been selling so much stock, he could probably afford a few of those.
That's a good point. Has he been selling more? Because I know he said he stopped. Let's see.
That's one click in Benzinga Pro, by the way.
Looks like he did tax selling in December, but that's it. The real big seller was that Tench guy.
Tench Cox, I think, is what we called it before.
Well, I mean, maybe that's a mispronunciation, but he sold another huge amount of NVIDIA on the 18th last year. He sold $131 million worth of shares, which is about 100 million less than what he sold back in September. Wow, NBIS got the 3410 and then just absolutely pulled. All right, let's see what else is moving here. Looks like we're getting some pull back here in Hoth, so that might be triggering some stops. IMRX still going lower. MSAI still going lower.
Stay focused asking about MSAI. Is that at a critical support level? Let me bring that up here real quick. Yeah, I would say it is. I would say 250 is the bottom end of that range there. Stay focused. Another 13 cents. Sorry, 13.
No, I think it's right on. We start closing under there. I think you consider that one done for the day. Maybe it comes back later, but I don't know what time or on what catalyst, or if people just want to try to push it up since it was already moving. HCWC engulfing candle, by the way, that's not great.
No, it isn't.
Hollow might be trying to push up to go higher. This thing has come back in after that move it made last week. Kind of given a bit of a megaphone pattern here on the 5-minute chart. So if this can hold above 350, it might try to take out that 384 high that it just put in.
Okay.
Lots of these.
Is he asking really quickly here about ONDS? Remember, I'm not actively trading. The stock is down 9% here. Definitely at a support area here. Really would like to see it hold on to 240. If we take a look at the daily chart, though, we can kind of understand what's going on here. This thing has had a pretty big run in a pretty short amount of time. Honestly, pullbacks like this, especially if they hold, would be pretty good. Now that you're looking at this area right in here, maybe this 235 to 245 area, I think if this holds, maybe we get another bounce like we did back here when this had a little bit of a corrective move after its initial impulse move there. I'm not actively day trading this. I'm trading this a little bit slower. So not in and out of this, really looking for some sales above $5 personally. Is he just kind of start scaling out of this one? I got more time if I don't get it in the next week here. But as far as quicker trades here, this is at an area that you definitely don't want to lose. I would say that right now. It's been weak here this morning. Really want to see some more volume flow into this name, to be honest.
I thought we were going to get a better resolution of the head and shoulders pattern that was on the NVIDIA's daily chart, and the price action over the past week kind of nullified that. But now we're in a situation where we've just double topped. Not exactly, but still within $1. But it's pretty close to, from where I'm looking at here. So double top, follow it with
that's really close.
Yeah, a double top with an engulfing candle. This looks bearish. So we'll see just how bearish it is. Maybe there's a rebound coming as the dip buyers always seem to step in whenever there's a big sell-off. Filled the gap, that was created yesterday by yesterday's price action. So maybe we do reverse here. Let's have to wait and see. But you can see how we just filled that gap from yesterday. That was created yesterday, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the gap that you're talking about right in here. I agree with you. I agree with your sentiment here. This does kind of look bearish, and it does seem to sell the news event that Jay kind of talked about earlier. That seems to be coming here. I think you do have a potential bounce here at about 141. That I got 140.10 as the 50-day moving average. So could definitely see it bounce from there. And then obviously we'll see if this comes back into any of the moving average levels. Like I'd at least like to see this at 100.
We're getting asked if Hoth is ready to go again, and it's trying to push up to that 250 area. Got as high as 239, but at the same time, I still think these are the kind of moves that we want to be selling into or raising our stops for, because like we keep saying, it's a biotech company, earns cash, they may have to raise. Don't know how high this is going to go. If you're in this and you're just taking pieces off at a time, that's great too. Just make sure you've got your stops raised well above your costs. You're not hurting this thing, and then just enjoy the ride.
All right. I'll be honest. I did not trade Hoth here today, but if I did, I'd have sold into this. I probably would have sold into that first move, to be quite honest with you. Real quick here, Izzy's mentioning they're talking about NVIDIA on CNBC right now. It's Dan Ives. So he's bullish on NVIDIA. Question earlier. So I bought NVIDIA at 151. Did I make the mistake of my life? Well, it depends what your time frame is. I mean, NVIDIA seems to be killing it. Their products seem to be awesome, and it looks like they just released a whole slew of new products. I did see Anne Marie in the chat earlier asking if they've resolved the heat issues on the Blackwell chips. I don't have any of those products myself, but I have been kind of looking for that. I haven't seen very many complaints with heat issues. So if anyone else has any insight on that, I'd like to know. NVIDIA has been kicking butt. Sorry, go ahead.
They just brought a huge bid in for Hoth, so this could push up higher now.
And it is pushing.
Just ask your question about that scapegoat asked. Hoth is phase 1, right? No, this is the result of phase 2A data for their. It's a dermatological treatment that they are working on.
You said that was the line that they're furthest in, right? The dermatological line of trials. Okay.
Yeah, because they also have other drugs they're working on for oncology, neurology, and inflammatories. But their dermatological one, which is the phase 2A that this is the results for, that's when they're furthest along in trials. They probably don't need cash, but they still might have to raise it because they've got multiple trials going on for multiple things.
Okay. There you go. There you go. What else do we've got here? That Hoth. This has been I can't believe it, but here we go. This has been a good one of the day. LiDAR. Maybe this is curling. What do we got in that 5 minute? We're not really at a split. It looks like it's trying to curl here. We'll see though.
All right. So just gonna
that's through the VWAP.
Put some other levels here for Hoth.
Okay. I'm gonna mark them.
Looks like that's a little bit of ways away, but let's see. Let's do 285 and 340. We'll look at those as the next resistance areas.
285.
Mm-hmm. We bring in more.
Said 340.
Yep.
Boom. There's going to be your next resistance level there on Hoth.
Yeah, we're coming right up to 280.
Oh my God, that happens so fast. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, not a great day. I had said earlier with Adam, maybe Hoth is one to stay away from. Looks like this was not one to stay away from here today. Good upside move.
It looks like that now, but just give it enough time, and it'll be one that you probably would have appreciated to either stay away from or glad that you got a good trade in.
Yeah, or I was going to say, or sold for a gain. That's what I'd be looking for.
Yeah,
this did actually end up moving pretty good.
Yeah, and I did trade this. I didn't get these last 2 5-minute candles, but I still got a good impulsive move up to 2, so I'm happy with that. And I don't have any regrets about not being in it right now because I would not want to be on the wrong side of this.
Yeah, you guys, Jay here mentioning Bitcoin not helping with the market right now. Market's still down near the lows, all of the indices, NASDAQ's, but the selling is at least temporarily stopped. It looks like it is trying to bounce, but it's still down here near the lows. Jay mentioning Bitcoin not helping, Bitcoin continuing to move lower here. You can actually take a look at that. Let me bring up my crypto chart here real quick. Bitcoin is moving lower here. Pretty much retracing the big move that we had yesterday. Maybe we are setting up with this head and shoulders.
Nice drawing set. I let dang me for leaving on. Yeah, it's you can't be mad at it.
Tesla, big reversal, 415 down to 395. Big reversal there on Tesla. Your VIX climbing here, 1725. VIX up near the highs here. Amazon reversed as well. Another 5-point move in Amazon from the highs to the lows.
Looks like IMRX is finally trying to turn around. We'll see if anything materializes out of that. I wouldn't be buying it until I get some more confirmation. Real quick, I wanted to ask you, can we look at a heat map?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to do the market?
Let's see what sectors are moving a lot, because I think we're seeing a lot of movement in energy. Maybe we get we see a little bit more rotation in some of these defensive names as well. Wow, so much red today.
Yeah, a lot of red here. Palantir, Tesla
Healthcare.
seem to be the big ones leading the way down. Micron, by the way, we got asked about that earlier. Micron, the biggest green arrow here, or the biggest green block here. If you want to take a look at the sectors here, here you go. This is kind of what we're looking at. Looks like positive sector here. XLV, XBI, XLE. So what's that? Energy, biotech,
healthcare.
healthcare. Yeah. Chips down here, 1.28%. SMH down here. XLY down here. It's the tech ETF. XLK down here. Retail's down. So here's your ETF heat map.
Yeah, so just kind of curious to see what was still hot today. And energy seemed to be one that was likely to be up, and it is. But all of them don't seem to be really taking off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of seems like there's a little bit of a holding pattern here. Jay Rice mentioning Johnson & Johnson, by the way.
Johnson & Johnson, nice little move up off a support level here at what, 143, 144?
This thing got pretty hammered as well, I believe.
Yeah, it sure has. This thing is down massively recently.
And it seems like when it gets below 150, like somewhere around, between 150 and 145, the buyers start to step in. And that's kind of been the case since November of 2023. As soon as it gets down to about that level near 145, the buyers start to step in. Happened in November of 23, happened in the summer of last year, happening now.
Mike, good morning, Mike, mentioning Moderna. mRNA. This does look like this is coming up off the bottom. Did take out that 50 here today. Moderna having a nice move today. I'll let you take the gains on this one, Mike.
Yeah, I think this is all the COVID names getting a big move again, just because it's the scare of disease outbreak in China. Cost, hope it will get to 900. I will buy some more. That'd be cool if it went even lower than that. I'd like to get it cheaper than that. And I don't know if I'm going to get my wish or not. I'd like to see it around 875, maybe a little bit lower than that. But I don't know if I'm going to get my wish. We'll see. It could. It looks like it still could.
The general rule of thumb: add Costco on weakness. Still looking to hold. We're right here at the 100 days, so not a terrible spot to add right here. Jay here regarding some of those biotechs. Jay saying, one thing I learned: gotta buy bio and healthcare when the charts look like absolute crap. So Jay, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, and Moderna.
You got any charts right now, by the way, that you really like? Let me know. Sorry, 13, didn't mean to run you over there.
Oh, I was just saying, like Moderna, that one was, oh man, it's super beat up compared to where it was. It's like trading 10 times less than what it was during the pandemic. Almost back to where it IPO'd at.
By the way, Hoth rejected at your 285 level that we identified.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit higher than that. But yeah, thank you. That's right there. And then they started bringing in some bigger sell orders. So let's see if this starts coming back in.
Crow mentioning big street party tonight now that Trudeau is gone. I will say, Crow, as soon as I saw that news, you were the first human being that I thought of. I thought, as soon as I saw the news, I thought to myself, Crow is somewhere right now really, really happy. He might be enjoying a cold beer, but wherever he is, he's really happy.
So we're getting mentions of all the big, pharmaceutical names that that were huge in the pandemic. So you had Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca. Let's see. Help me out here. There's some other big names that
Pfizer, Moderna. So you're talking about a lot of those vax names, right? You'd have NVAX on there. Would be another one. There was another one too.
NVAX up 14%.
Yeah.
So this is we're seeing a big viral scare right now with the news coming out of China, and it's the bird flu, it's HMPV. So lots of, it's I think that's what we're seeing here with the biotechs moving right now, the big names. It's all the emergence of a pandemic scare.
Mm-hmm. And we actually talked about if this kicks up again in happy hour, we discussed some other angles here.
Yeah.
APT was one of the ones that we mentioned. This is Alpha Protect. They do personal protective equipment.
Yep.
And they sure look like this 6 area here is a possible breakout spot. This thing went ham during COVID, which is why we're looking to come back to this.
And the nice thing about this company is that it's not one of those junky, biotech names. This is a real company with real products and real revenue. They're profitable, and the best part is their float is under 10 million shares. So they have a share repurchase program. So there's a lot to like about APT, especially if this scare continues. APT should get noticed again.
Okay. Good stuff there.
Yes. Thank you, Michael Del Sesto. BIIB, Biogen, I believe is what it's called.
I can bring that up right now.
That's another one that, because they've got, I think they're part of the vaccines, I know that they were part of Alzheimer's. That was their big thing.
Yeah.
But they are also up. So, thank you for that mention as well. And what else are we looking at now?
I'm going to run through some. Let me go to an intraday chart here. I'm going to run through some of the movers. 285 on hot. That's one of the levels that you gave. DATS, this just did pop. Looks like it was just trying to get over 315, which is that pre-market high impulse move. Volume is flowing here. Volume looks pretty good. Did we get any fresh news on this one? Nope. This just looks like volume is starting to pour into that. Watch that 315 spot, DATS, if that can pop. VWAP down here at 270 if it comes back in for a reload.
IMRX and MSAI, some 2 other names that we were looking at this morning. They're starting to curl, so keep an eye on those for a rebound.
Hey, stay focused. Weren't you just asking us if this is at a critical support level? And we said yes. And the stock bounced from this level, 26 cents so far.
Yep. So
there we go.
We start getting volume expansion, the eyes are on it. At the very least, we could see this get back up to VWAP. That's about where we got some pre-market consolidation. So not sure if we're going to get through that on this current volume that we have. But if we get another volume spike that we did at the open, we could probably push through that VWAP.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree, Mo. Hoth either going to pop or drop, and based on the upper shadows, I would think that a drop is coming, but I don't want to, say that that's a for sure thing. It could just get a whole bunch of buyers to step in and push it up again.
LiDAR pretty much gave back almost everything that it had here today. Really poor performance here in LiDAR. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my chart here.
Yeah, if this current candle provides another upper shadow in Hoth, then I think that may be a telling signal that this is going lower.
Here it comes. Watch the 250 break.
Oh, it just ate that up.
It held right there, dude. That was so close. I was watching. I'm thinking that this probably comes into VWAP if it breaks that. That's down at 2.
Yeah.
Hustle and bustle. Thanks for all your support. Take care. Good luck today selling houses. Izzy's calling for a market reversal here. We spent time talking about all 3 of those indices really pulling at the same time to the lows. Does look like we bounced here. As far as the SPY goes, 2.5 point bounce off 592 as we're printing 594.50 right now. What was that?
That's a bear flag on the 5-minute chart. That doesn't look great to me. Maybe we do trade up to about 595, but we could get a big reversal, resistance anywhere between here and that level 595. Yoda told
That's
me
it did. Look, Dats, it did it. It went right through that 315. I told you, watch 315 here. 335 looks to be the high. Let me bring this up in the prop here, and I give you an idea of what the level 2 looks like. Looks like they did bring in an offer there at 335. 336 is actually the intraday high print that I have. Let's see. I guess there's a little bit of bids down there between 310 and 3.
It looks like SPY is coming back down some more. I'm not in anything right now. I'm just kind of watching.
Yeah, I'm flat. I'm flat too as far as day trades go.
We've got Hoth coming in a little bit here. It's looking for support at 225. I don't know whether or not it'll get it. Cruise operators are down.
What?
And remember we talked about airlines being hit?
Yeah.
They're down too.
Okay, I was gonna say, is there like a piece of news or something that's going on, or what?
Well,
No, it's just down on the. Okay, yep, all good. All good.
Some airlines are up, but some are down. But when you take a look at the charts for a lot of these airlines and see how much they've run, you don't want to have a good catalyst that's going to take them down, like pandemic news. So that'll definitely change the price on from where it's at. Like,
well, we also had the news on the cold snap, right, in Texas, but then also some of the airport closures for like ice storms and stuff.
That's true.
Yeah, that was going on recently. I mean, even the Kansas City Chiefs, I think last weekend on Saturday were late. I mean, they obviously made the game. Barely showed up, the players that played, but they made the game. They were delayed taking off from Kansas City because I guess the entire airport was closed. I saw more of that on X yesterday, but
just looking at something here.
VIX holding 17, by the way. Bitcoin, 13. Bitcoin stopped its sell-off at 99K on the futures charts, holding in there so far.
Delta Airlines, DAL, they report on Friday, January 10th. And right now, ever since the beginning of December, it seems like they have had a hard time staying above their 20-day SMA. They lost that on the 9th of December, have not been able to get back above it. And in the process of trying to get back above it, they also lost the 50. That's not a great look. If this cannot get back above the 20 this week, then we're probably going to see this come down into the, maybe in the lower half of the 50s.
Okay. Chris is saying it's freaking freezing here in Florida. It is 17 here in Chicago. So I'd like to know what temperature is causing you to wear snow pants to your Amazon job. That's interesting.
Wow, NBIS has really fallen. What happened? Oh, it's just a tech sell-off.
What was producer? What was that? I had something up here there.
Well, Buffalo by bicycle. I don't think the apple's falling too far from the tree. If you're playing micro stakes, it's just pretty much the same thing. You got the market. That's a gambling machine. You're playing a gambling machine there. Gamble while you gamble.
I've never been good at online poker. I guess I'm not really great at real poker either. I enjoy it, but I'm not great at it.
It's more fun when you're there.
Yeah, I agree. It's more fun when you're sitting around a table with people you enjoy their company of too.
NBIS really fallen now. It looks like this is going to, I don't want to say that it is, but it looks like it's trying to go to 30.
Wait. NBIS. Okay, I thought you said yeah. My fault. I just misheard the ticker.
I wonder if story trading is just trying to get out of this now. I just wonder if that's all them right here. It's a lot of selling.
WHLR. So this is the first. So this is the first stock that was halted here. I know we've been talking a lot about halted stocks recently. Grats to anyone that was in this one. I'm not in this one. Popped into a halt there, just opened. Looks like what, 403 is your high print here. Wheeler WHLR. Do we have any news on this?
Wheeler Real Estate?
Prospectus supplement? I don't think so.
This one again. Let me see here, because I remember this one we traded multiple times before, and I forgot what it ran on, but it was like some kind of news that had us scratching our heads, I thought.
So, okay, so here we go. We were talking about this earlier. I think Anne Marie asked this earlier. This is Tamed Craziness. Sweet handle, by the way. NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs will be shipping late January. Blackwell GPUs for AI and HPC overheat when used in servers with 72 processors inside. Overheating issue was mitigated with rack design. Here's my one question is, I still want to know if these chips are going to overheat too, but what about the personal GPUs that you put into your machine? Because if those run the risk of overheating, I actually think that could be really terrible. I feel like you might get a negative news cycle from that, because the people that are going to use those products like to post online a lot, especially if it's negative.
That might be an issue if with the NVIDIA made ones, but they have these aftermarket graphics card housing manufacturers
like EVGA and Asus and such.
MSI, yeah, exactly. So they're going to probably, put some kind of better heat sinks or cooling abilities on there. You might even start to see some of those graphics cards have or come with some kind of liquid cooled system. That's been a big thing lately with these high performance GPUs, is liquid cooling them as well. So
yeah,
could be a number of different things to tackle that.
I've built a pretty sweet liquid cooled machine, like a custom one. Like I have an AIO cooler on my CPU right now. That's not really what I'm talking about. I've actually built a custom liquid cooled machine. It's cool, but it's a lot of work.
Hoth pushing up again. Trying to take out 290 and go to 3.
285, it's right at that spot right here.
As far as Wheeler goes, this is just likely a massive short squeeze. I mean, it's all of a sudden it's got 40% of the float shorted. I can't. It's only one day to cover, but I can't think that there's anything else that's happening here. It's just squeezing.
LiDAR bottom test. Every GPU can overheat if you push the power limits far enough. Lowering the power limit can usually resolve any overheating issues. That's good stuff. I can confirm that because I used to overclock my own GPU.
But you're also limiting performance as well. So there's trade-offs.
Yep. There is no free lunch. The universe is the ultimate free lunch. There is no free lunch anywhere else. It's always a trade-off. Hoth, looks like that did test 3 here. 299 is the high print that just brought in some size there. 287. Wow, big size there.
SPY is just really pulling now. So we're coming down to a support area. The previous all-time high of 591 and 93 cents. I would think that maybe they get some support there. I don't know if it's going to get reversal support, but it might be brief intraday support, if anything.
They're hitting the huge offer right now in Hoth. 284 right now. There it goes. And now I would watch for a move to 3 here.
If it gets 3, we were looking for 350.
Here it comes. There is size there at 3 too. And they're on the size. They're taking it. Oh, they refilled some of it and pulled it right off that spot. Wow, what a nasty pull. Intense action here in Hoth. This might go right back up there. I didn't see a whole lot either.
Oh man, the rebels are there.
Here we go. And bang, right through 308 your high print now.
Really? I don't see that.
I've got 308 as the actual print there.
There we go. Now it's I got 306. I don't know. That must be a broker thing.
Oh, Cyril saying Jensen's pleather jacket last night. I don't know, boss. That's a Tom Ford. I don't think that's pleather. But man, if it is, what a dupe. Hoth, that was a really good call there, by the way, on Hoth coming right back to the highs. It popped those off. That we watched that live. That was really good stuff there. 340, the next spot that you gave us there, 13. Let's see if we get that on Hoth.
350. 350 is the next spot.
Oh, what did I miss? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I marked it at 340. I guess I did that wrong. Let me adjust that here real quick. Oh well, 340 was also a high there. Well, whatever. I'll adjust it to the level that you.
Maybe you're right. Maybe 340 would be better. I think.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to leave it on there. When we get there, we'll assess it then. But I'm going to leave 340 on for right now. Stock is pushing here. It's actually trying to build above 3.
I don't think we need to argue over a dime.
No, I don't either. We don't need to argue. Period.
Here's the SPY at that previous all-time high, 591.93.
By the way, so we were talking about the SPY bouncing a little bit. Short-lived. New lows on SPY.
Lose bear flag.
Wiss, I'm glad that you asked this. I'm really glad that you asked this. Thoughts on TGL tonight? So I had actually, my opener today was whether or not you're excited for this. I am extremely optimistic for this. For anyone that doesn't know, TGL is the new simulated golf league that they're doing in Vegas. They're doing it on this ridiculous screen that just looks really, really awesome. This should be a lot of fun. One of the things I've noticed on some of these golf events, when they have the golfers mic'd up, it's more of an entertaining watch than a traditional PGA Tour event. And I'm looking forward to that here out of the simulated league. I'm looking forward to some smack talk between some of the best in the world. I'm excited to check this out tonight, 7 p.m. Central, I believe.
I'm just kind of
continuing to push lower here.
That's what I was just going to say. I'm just kind of wondering where this stops. I don't have any levels for stopping. I've already mentioned the previous all-time high, and it just got completely demolished. The other thing now is that we are beneath the 50-day SMA. So bears will love to see that. Need to close beneath that. Still got plenty of time for crazier stuff to happen throughout the day. So not saying we're going to get a close beneath the 50-day SMA, but so far we're beneath it. Let's take a look around town, seeing what's looking good. Maybe if there's any trades. Seems like the only thing that we've got going on here is Hoth, which is trying to, looks like a push higher. Like
there's some size here at 304. There's more size there at 310. 308's your day high. Rejected at the day high again.
Hoth does look great, but I'm sitting on my hands with that one. You've already seen how once this gets a good move going, that pulls it and can trap a lot of people up in there. Like, I don't know if some folks were there we go. Now it's higher. Almost 317. If you're still in Hoth, congratulations. You are killing it.
Just make sure you get yourself paid at some point. We've seen this come back in.
Yeah. And we've seen it come back in quick too. Remember, it has 6.8 million shares. We have already traded. How much have we traded today? We have traded 222 million shares.
Insane.
Fantastic. So we have traded the float 32 times today, and the sun's just getting its coffee.
The sun is just getting its coffee. The sun. Mike here mentioning NVIDIA. Look, another leg down. NVIDIA sell day indeed. I'll be honest. I was not ready to short this today. Kudos to Jay, frankly, and obviously kudos to you folks, but kudos to Jay for saying much earlier that this was a sell the news event. I ran down the NVIDIA news for you here this morning. I definitely would not have predicted a minus 6% move down almost $10 here from the highs.
Well, Hoth just destroyed both 340 and 350.
360 now on Hoth. Wow. Yeah, not my day. Not my day here today. Said Hoth was one to avoid. That's been the best trade of the day and was not ready for an NVIDIA short. So I apologize to you folks for not having that queued up for you. We called the setup, but I my early call not great. Try and do better here tomorrow.
435. Next target for Hoth.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm just going to pop that on here right now. 435. There you go.
Yeah, so I have no idea where this is going to go. I mean, remember, this is phase 2A data. They're still going to lose money, and there's another whole series of trial to go. The phase 3 is probably going to take all year. It could take all year. These things take a lot of time.
Mike, you're asking about Dell off this NVIDIA news. Dell, similar story, not quite as bad. 210 or minus 2% here for Dell. Smoke Tuna saying, Ryan, I said Hoth was not ready when you called it. You mean earlier today? Mm-hmm. Or what? So yeah, I mean, look, so sometimes you get them wrong. Look, I've been hurt with Hoth personally before, but did not have it called correctly today.
Yeah, and here I am over
Jay
here saying great stops.
Sorry, Jay here saying it was a market up 3 days in a row, not the time to be pressing longs. Indeed. I would have just thought with some of the news there, NVIDIA might have been, one of the pockets of strength. But
would you rather have missed this move in Hoth, or would you rather be in NVIDIA at 150?
I would rather miss the move in Hoth.
Right. So we can't get beating ourselves up for something that we didn't get.
Yeah. And I mean, Izzy saying, Ryan, we all have bad days. I'm not necessarily even having a bad day. It swings down a little bit here. I did scalp Fubo out of the gate here. I'm not exactly having a bad day. I'm just disappointed that I didn't have some of these calls early on. Like when I had Adam Mesh on here earlier, he actually seemed interested in Hoth, and I had just said probably not the play. And sure enough, it has been the play. It's been the play of the day here, probably so far. That's all I mean. I'm disappointed I'm not doing a better job helping the group. I feel like if I was on top of this from the beginning, I mean, kudos to you, 13. Your first level here of 285 hit exactly, and that actually set up the second trade. So I know, we can all make calls. We can all make calls here. It was told you to stay away from the big winner, unfortunately. You could be the bag holders on XTIA. I'm glad I'm not that super. I'll tell you that much. Do not have XTIA.
I don't even think I traded that one today.
No, that's a penny stock, right? That's just like the 26 cent, if I'm not correct. Yeah, 13 cent.
Oh yeah, then I won't be touching this one.
Yeah, no, this was double top 25 cents, and the pre-market thing totally broke down. This would not have been something on my list to begin with.
Seems like some of the value stocks are doing better today than a lot of these runners that we've had. You look at some of the beverage. What's up?
Wisdom saying, Ryan, this is what happens when you go from red wine to white wine. I haven't had any wine since Friday, so I'm all right there. I just thought that was funny.
Daniel asking if I have support levels for Hollow. Let's see what I got. All right. We are kind of beneath a bunch of levels.
SPY still hanging out at lows here. Market looks like it still might try to push lower here.
So there's some consolidation back from October that sort of creates a little bit of a demand zone, and that may actually be where the price find support somewhere between, and this is going to be funny, somewhere between 240 and 315. Now, what's funny about 240 is that is basically where we finish a gap fill from December 27th. So we could probably just end up filling that gap, which would be the bottom of that demand zone consolidation, and then turn around. So 240 would be a support level for me. I don't want to make any predictions that whether or not it will hold. This is hollow that we're talking about after all. So maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But looking at the chart, 240 looks like a very clear support level.
Okay, sorry, I had the wrong ticker up here the entire time. Apologize. Gaddy, I tell you what, that things kind of dried up here with the down move in the market. I mean, if it's not Hoth, I don't really see a whole lot else out there that's all that great.
Well, this would be about the time where the weakness should start to set in. We were, a lot of us are thinking, halfway through the month, and here we are on the 7th. So we'll see. Maybe we get bigger moves later on when the earnings start coming out.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what is the volume here. Let me take a look here at SPY real quick while we're waiting. SPY here, volume 12.5 million. This is definitely higher than we've been tracking at this time recently. So, okay, we'll see here. I bought Hoth pre-market at 154, sold it at 265. I don't care if it hits 10. I made some cash and I'm done for the day. Cheers, team. You're going to get some sound effects for that. Well done, Sassy. Well done. Enjoy the rest of your day there. Awesome trade, indeed.
Well, yeah, like you said, unless it's Hoth, it doesn't seem like a whole lot is performing too well. Hoth,
maybe
also,
Fubo through 6, maybe.
Hoth coming in a little bit might get some support. It does look like it still wants to go a little bit higher, so maybe another 10 minutes. It might get another impulse move, but if it starts to trade below 3 and looks weak, maybe it has a date with VWAP.
Okay. Here's NVIDIA. Who was this? I'm gonna get your name right. I gotta. Alsanhari. I'm probably mispronouncing your name. I'm sorry. NVIDIA support at 140 question mark. I actually have a support level drawn here at 140.96. Let's just call it 141. However, 140 should absolutely also serve as support. That is right where the 50-day moving average is. 140.02 is where your 50-day moving average is on that. So definitely seems to be some support in there. 140 to 141. We're pretty much right there. So it does look like we're at a support area here on NVIDIA. VKTXJ. Been buying small pieces every 25 cents down. Okay, so you've just been adding to this. Again, I think you talked earlier about this being a potential takeover target, which VKTX has been for a long time. Semaglutide angle here, a GLP-1 angle here, I should say. Another interesting level coming here with VKTX. The gap fill all the way back down here happens at what, $39 about? You got the 500-day moving average here at 36. Yes, Hydraxis saying, what is happening with NVIDIA today? Thought it was going to boom after the keynote. Well, the smart ass answer there is that there's more sellers than buyers. Realistically, it seems like kind of a sell the news event after the keynote yesterday. Like I said earlier, products seemed awesome. Just seems like this may be a sell the event here. Look at this, right down to that 140.96 level and held so far.
This seems like it's a lot of selling. So I think this is what sellers were waiting for, was for, I'm not trying to, say anything bad about you, Hydraxis, but this is what, folks were waiting for, is the expectation of a really big move in NVIDIA. A lot of people got excited about it. It created a massive amount of liquidity. And the sellers were like, okay, well, now that we have a whole bunch of people willing to buy this up here, let's sell it. That's the read I'm getting from this. You tell me what you think, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean that seems right. I mean, as far as your point about the volume here, 155.76 million shares traded here at almost 11 o'clock. The average is 220. I think we're going to hit that average and go hot and go more than that by the time this is all said and done. So I mean, look, at 5% down, that's a big move for Nvidia. It's right down to a support level.
It's because the NVIDIA 4090 users are enraging. Because what their graphics card is now going to be obsolete because the 5090 is coming out.
Oh, Jay, why'd you have to do him dirty? It's because Dan Nathan went bullish on Nvidia. It sells off, has one of its worst down days in a long time. Oh God, that's too funny.
It still looks like MSCI is trying to curl back up. Just trying to see which.
I'm going to go back to the main workspace here.
What's Tesla doing? Is that turning around too? Because I'm seeing some of the other EVs look like
Tesla.
Trying
Tesla. It looks like it's trying to bounce here, but I'd be careful on that because the last time we saw this, the bounce was short-lived. Here's your Tesla chart. I'll bring it up on screen real quick.
This could, okay, so at the very least, I think this might try to push up back up to 400. I don't know we're going to, recapture 400 and go higher, but it looks like that's what we're trying to get right now out of this price action, is just at least try and test 400 again. Our cat's on the move, says a crow. Crim Biscuit saying kit at top of day's range. Fubo higher says Izzy. Let's see here. Do I? Yeah, Tesla's certainly coming back up now. If it can move through 397, should be able to try for 400.
All right. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Hoth is still, setting up, and there's a large amount of sell orders at 345. So if we get the volume to take that out, this could very well push beyond 380 and into that floor handle. I think I said 430 was the next one. It was
435. If I'm not, yep, 435. Yep.
So maybe after this candle, this 5-minute candle, we get that if it continues to hold above 3. So I'll be watching for that.
Okay. All these other little mover, MSAI, maybe this did kind of come off that. I'll tell you what, this is plus 40 cents off that support level, stay focused, that you asked me about earlier. I should have just followed. I should have just done that. I should have just practiced what I preached, right? We talked about that being an important support level. Never took the trade. Trades bounced now almost a full 50 cents. Market bouncing?
Yeah, I think Hoth might bounce soon. If it's going to bounce, it's going to be soon. And if it doesn't bounce soon, then we are probably going to have a date with VWAP. What are some smaller data center stocks? I kind of had a list at some point, I thought. Let me see what my
let me see if I do too here real fast. I'm trying to go to a different workspace.
Don't have that. I have a semiconductor automaker.
Yeah, see, I never put, this is my own fault too. This was stupid. I never put a data center list together. We had these lists that had like some overlap, and I think I put them into other things like
Take care, Evan.
Autonomous driving, robotics, this and that, and energy for data centers and things like that. I don't think I made a data center playlist. I probably should have. Watch list, excuse me.
NBIS turnaround, that's making its way up towards VWAP now.
Which one?
NBIS.
Oh, and the AI play, the Russian AI play.
Yep.
That's a nice little bounce there. Fubo coming back to high. That was one of the other stock. We talking a little bit about Hoth earlier. Said Fubo maybe through 6. That gave you 20 cents here.
Yeah, it looks like Tesla's still trying to get up to 400. I think it still does try and test 400. I don't know how much higher it's going to go beyond 400.
Okay, so we're getting you guys are mentioning the newsprint here. Trump is to announce 20 billion investment to building new data centers. CNBC citing a source. Maybe that's why the market is popping here.
Who's going to build them? Let's take a look at IBM.
Real quickly here. That's actually a really good thought. Real quickly here. Is America heading to nuclear power? Yes, it feels like that, but natural gas is the bridge. So that's, I think, where the plays are. Stay focused. Mentioning maybe TQQQ is in play here today. I'll tell you what, if this is bouncing off of that $20 billion investment into data centers, yeah, I think that maybe this could be in play here. I know we've missed a little bit of that bounce already, but I would imagine that would continue here. I would imagine that'd be a pretty good catalyst there.
If Hoth is going to bounce, it's probably going to do it soon. I think in this current this candle and the next 5-minute candle are going to determine whether or not this goes higher or lower. Fairchild for what? Like True Social? Well, I would think that it's going to probably be with the autonomous driving. I think there's a bunch of applications that are going to use data centers and AI, but I think the most prolific one right now might be autonomous driving and eVTOLs. Okay, so Hoth trying to turn around here, trying to go back up towards 350, and if we capture that, it could be a breakout.
And that 340 level, this was resistance and support already today, right through it right there. You might, I know we're going to be going to Anne Marie here in the next 30 seconds, 13, but given some of these plays that you've been locked in on, might need to stick around in the chat.
I'll stick around in the chat for a little bit and just kind of I'll throw out what I'm seeing, and folks, take your trades and manage them however you will, but make sure you listen to Anne Marie because she's going to give you some absolute bangers of options trades. Maybe even ask her about EIX.
Ooh, okay. I wonder what the option chain looks like that on. That would be my biggest concern, but let me add that to the list here. And then it's Tom, I think it was Tom that asked about JPM. We're going to ask her about that here. Okay. What's wrong with?
Because we're talking about that 20 billion data center Trump thing. IBM has a really nice setup. I'll just say that before it goes. And then Hoth also looked like it wants to try to go higher as well. Not sure if we're going to get it or not. Folks, here comes Anne Marie. I'm going to split out into the chat. I'll see you down there. Oh, I thought it was.
I got you.
Bye, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Take care, 13. Really good stuff here today. Really, really good calls. You carried it. 13 shoulders are wide. We'll see you later. See you at happy hour. Take care.
All right. Take care.
All right. 13's departure leaves room for Anne Marie. I mean, I kind of want to go to. Can I do this? Let me see. I want to go to Anne Marie, but I kind of want to. Well, we'll just go to Anne Marie. We'll keep it business as usual here. Anne Marie, happy Tuesday. How are you?
Really good. This has been quite a market today.
Sure has. Did you have Nvidia trading down 10 plus points from the highs? Was that on your bingo card today? It was not on mine.
I did not. However, you know me, I always have that side view of what if. So it was one of those what ifs.
All right, let's go ahead. What do you got for us today? Let me go ahead and bring up your screen here. What are you thinking for today?
So here's something interesting. I did a scan on Thinkorswim for all the highest implied vols that have huge market caps. And you talked about JP Morgan. That was really one of the reasons that we were able to take that position, and it worked out as nicely as it did. And so I'm open for just about anything. I have a few thoughts floating around, but happy to go where the traders want today.
Okay, well, we only have 2 stocks that were suggested here. I will say, definitely having trouble with the screen, with making out what's on the screen here.
I do have it set on the larger
Yeah,
setting,
it
but
might be
let's
us.
go up one more.
Okay, it might be us because for some reason our stream was not full HD here today. Producers are looking into that. Sorry, I missed that earlier.
No
Producer.
worries. Let's make
Okay,
this
I'll do my best to try and read here. The first one that we definitely wanted to set up a trade for was JPM, but the one that 13 recently suggested was EIX, which I saw. So I'm down to do either one of these here. We'll start with JPM.
Sure. Let's start with JPM. And not sure what gave the market this absolute monstrous rotation, but we did run up incredibly, just in a bizarre kind of way. And so my thought is always, we gotta have reversion to the mean in some space. Sorry, I don't know why it's taken so very long to
Yeah, I'm glad it's not just you, Anne Marie. I had some trouble with stuff loading here this morning too when it comes to quote feeds. So
yeah. Okay. So let me make sure I'm flat everywhere so I can pay attention. All right. So let me make sure my VPN is off and everything else is just got to look for the bandwidth hogs that might be floating around here. Yeah, this is bizarre. I'm not sure what gives. Let's go to a day.
well, I was gonna say you had EIX in there. Can we try a different ticker? Maybe it'll resolve the chart.
Yeah. And no.
And no, Thinkorswim is not going to cooperate with us. Sorry, folks.
So, all right. So I do seem to have, let's see. Let's look at JPM here. Okay, so it obviously must be something with the charts because the chains are coming up fairly well. And I have it on the biggest setting possible. So sorry about that.
It's not you. It's actually us. We don't have the stream in high enough definition here today, but I can still make these numbers out. So I'll shout them out as we're going through them.
Okay, so I need to see a picture of JPM. So I'll pull it up on another.
I actually think, do I have my screen shared here? Here you go. Here's your JPM chart if you want to take a look at that. I don't know if this is helpful at all.
Yeah. Let's take a look at it. All right. So we got a little bit of a topping edge. Next week is earnings. If you want to see an earnings trade work in the space right now, we can give that a go if you want to put together an earnings trade.
Yeah, I think that was the request from the request from Tom from yesterday.
For sure. Okay, so let's have a go. Their earnings is just around the bend. It's actually in expiry week, but it just gives us a day. So let's give it until the 31st. And let's think about, let me get some levels here. I've got my charts on the other side, so not to fret. 250. And then 230. All right, so the call side going to be a little bit more expensive, but a lot of people sitting there. 250, 260. Let's do a 1x3x2. That's $1.46 for a potential upside of 1,000. So it's like $850.
No, it looks like you have 250, 260, 265.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me explain why. That's a 1x3x2 that does not require margin. If we did the 1x3x2 that uses some margin, 250, 260, we could go to 70. It ends up being about half the price, but it uses up $1,000 of margin for each butterfly. Now, if you're okay with that margin event, It's going to give you a great opportunity at a cheap price, much more reward for the risk. Same $1,000 upside, altogether less the $71 that you pay for that. So it's 925 thereabouts, but it will use $1,000 of margin. Let's do it on the put side. 230 is what I'm seeing. Let's see where the traders are sitting on expiry. Let's see where they're crowded. 130. Wow, some people just selling for that. So the big one is 225. All right. Let's see. 225. Let's go 235. Whoops, sorry, wrong direction. 235, 225, and then 215. That one's 78 cents. That's a standard butterfly, a 1 by 2 by 1. And that gives us both sides. And what we're doing is following the money where the biggest strikes are. We won't use the 17th. Sorry. We'll use the 31st. It's 99 cents. If you want to use the 17th, you can. But this gives you a little bit more time for the price action to do what it's going to do. The one on the 17th is going to be a little bit more of a gamble in my mind, right? You could use the 24th. Let's do that. Let's see what the 24th gives us. More expensive on the call side and cheaper on the put side. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so this is my thought for the setup. Not cheap, but the probabilities are sitting in your favor here. Now, if you wanted to do a 1 by 3 by 2 using, let's choose the 31st, gives us a little bit more time. And if we go to the 31st and we do something that doesn't require margin, but also assumes that we stop right near that 2025. This is the one that doesn't require margin, 86 cents. The one that does require margin, 235, 225, the 1 by 3 by 2, 42 cents. So half the price just requires a little bit of margin. And so the margin event gives us that opportunity to double or half our risk, but with a little bit of exposure there. So that's what we're looking at. I'll take a snapshot of it and I'll put a note that says choices. And I'll leave some black space below so that I can tell folks a little bit more about what's happening. And I'll put that in the Benzinga Pro chat for us, as well as the Emory Trades space. So that'll be good. All right. Why don't we look at NVIDIA? All that good news. And then all of a sudden, here we are, down 5%. What do we make of this? So if I were to ask you, as someone who looks at the market all the time, reads a lot of data, that's driving me insane that they are not letting the charts go up.
I got your back, Anne-Marie. Yeah.
So if you could just pop the chart up while we set aside some time to figure out what the option chains look a little bit like. Tell me what you think about why this might be happening, if you were to put a little thought process into that.
we actually did kind of discuss that earlier, and honestly, this just seems like your traditional run-of-the-mill sell the news event, right? You had
Excellent.
NVIDIA has been such a Just an awesome trade for us. It's just a great company. It's been executing. It's been trading up. It's had an awesome year. There's so many people. Who's left to buy NVIDIA? So now we have this big CES presentation. We get a lot of news that we were expecting. Blackwell GPUs for personal use are shipping in January. You had a new AI, essentially notebook that doesn't require access to Amazon Web Services to do AI computations. And then we had a number of different news articles about autonomous driving, whether it be Toyota Motors or Uber. And so I think you kind of hit all of these bases. Any thesis that you were in, we printed what? Right up near the all-time high here. So I think you just kind of got, you know what? This is time to at least ring the register. And you had people taking gains here today. That turned into more sellers than buyers all day, and you have this nasty candle. That's what I would say happened today, why we're selling off.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that also. Here's something else I would say. Any time an instrument moves into one of the major indexes, it falls under. So what did it move into? The Dow or what did it move to?
I think it was the Dow, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it got moved into the Dow. And so what this means is it becomes an instrument of portfolio management. And so if you have a portfolio that's modeling certain percentages and something spikes way over the side, you have to go, I probably need to trim some of those gains, and I'm going to be buying it back when it comes into those deeper areas. And so we'll be looking for that, I don't know, 50 moving average. Where is that?
I've got the 50 moving average at 140.02.
Okay. So my suspicion is that we come into that 140 area and we start seeing a little bit of stability from there. If not, it's going to move to that 200 probably, which
200 is down here at 118.93. Now, here's the interesting. I completely agree with everything that you just said. One of the other support/resistance areas that I had here was 140.96. If you want to call that 141, that's fine with me and my OCD. No problem at all. If we actually look inside here at an intraday chart of NVIDIA, look what happened. We sold right off to that 140.96 area, and we've bounced off. Now we are retesting it here, so we'll see if we end up breaking it and going through there. But that entire area looks to be a support area.
Yeah. And so, somebody just said, hey, it hasn't touched the 200 since January of 2023, which is 2 years. That might be a nice rotation event for folks to say, hey, I'm going to buy that. For me, I continue to sell puts in NVIDIA. And if I get put to it, well, I'm in great shape, right? Because I sell it way out of the money and I get to collect premium on the way down as that happens. So from that being said, the question might be, are we sitting in a region where we could take a trade that might give us some pretty nice rewards? And my thought is, well, we actually put on an iron condor that we sold it for like maybe $1.80 or something like that, and it's now worth 68 cents. So we're in great shape. That one we ought to cover that in general. But my thought is, if you're staring down this chart and you want to position yourself for the next move, it might not be a bad idea to sell an iron condor for premium. And so because the vol is up, what day is earnings? Is that the 7th of Feb or something?
Here, let me go to that here real quick. Your earnings date for NVIDIA is confirmed for February 26th.
February 26th. Oh, okay. So we can use the Feb expiry. So that's great. Right? So we'll be out. Remember, anytime you sell an iron condor, you want to try and get out maybe no more than 10 days before expiry, or else you're sort of pushing your luck. So whatever you can get between then is great. I like the 125 120s for the put side. And, the 150 to 155, also pretty nice, right? A lot of people jammed up there in that region at the 150 area, and it gives you almost 50% of the spread. 50% of the spread.
Okay, sweet.
So what we expect the chart to do is dance around this area. And so could it get up over 150 again? Yes. But chances are it's going to slog around until earnings. That's going to give us a beautiful premium exposure event.
Mhm.
And I like it very much. So I'll take a snapshot of that one also to put in the Benzinga Pro chat for a brand new one. Very
Okay,
nice.
awesome. Is there any other stocks that you had on your list?
So yes, I want to look at energy, and
Okay.
so how about bringing up Constellation?
Yeah, let's see.
CEG.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I have to share my I have to share
Oh,
my
I'm
screen. Sorry.
sorry.
No, it's my fault. That's totally me. Here you go.
charts are
I'm like
different.
typing the ticker in here already, and it's like I have to put it on screen. Here is your CEG chart.
Yeah. Okay. So, a couple of things we can do here, because let's take a look at this CEG. I'll talk about it. You can see that it's a little rangy, but my premise, probably for the last 3 or 4 months, and I believe into 2025, is energy and metals are going to be sort of hand in hand in terms of running up. And so that energy is going to be nat gas. We talked about oil the next
Yep.
time we were around. And so here's one that's got an incredibly high rating. It does really well. Most of the pullback candlesticks have been on lower volume, and those mean reversion trades are starting to look pretty nice, right? In terms of saying, hey, I'm going to wait for old resistance, new support to get myself involved. So, couple of things we could do. First, for someone who's thinking about, and I have a lot of these things sitting in here on my screen right now, but the first thing maybe is the poor man's covered call, which is, and I got the definition of that from Amanda. I'd heard it, but I was like, what is that? So you buy a call way out in the money. Excuse me. Yes, you buy a call way out of the money and further into the future, and you sell against it in the front months. And what that does is give you a position that will allow you to move into the chart as a cheap space whenever that number comes to pass. And so 300 looks like a pretty good number, but let's say that the number we really want is 280. And so it's a little expensive, $1,300. But what it does for you in the first pass is, as it expires out of the money, you can sell an option against it every single time. So next month, you can sell 280 again. And if price action stays the same, this call that is actually, how much is this call in May at 280? It's $2,100. By the time you get to March, you could be looking at a $3 exposure for a 280 call. And so if you are feeling good about, so this would be worth maybe, let's see what the theta is. So we've got 73.10. Okay, so this would end up probably being about $9 when March comes around. And literally that's going to make that $4. So by the time April comes around, You can sell it again. It literally will be a free call option if prices hold well. So if you're a thinking man around that space, and I use the word man in terms of mankind, ladies, please do not be offended, just using that word in terms of mankind. If you're a thinking man about this longer term space, it looks really good. All right. Next thing, there's an iron condor here that looks absolutely fantastic because of the vol. And the vol is pretty spicy. And so I love it. And so if we're taking a look at some of these near terms, like the 290 call, 46% for the implied vol, the 220 put, 80%. Absolutely phenomenal. Gives us tons of premium, almost 30% of the entire spread. So absolutely love this. I mean, absolutely love it. My goal is to buy at 253. Yesterday it came in for me. I didn't pull the trigger like a knucklehead. So gonna wait for it to come in again and do that, and also sell the 220 puts and sell the 270 calls. That's my strategy here.
Okay.
So that I can continue to have this stock at cheaper prices. I'm just going to keep selling the puts and selling the calls against it every month. If it comes in, I'll acquire it. But I think Constellation has got some significant upside. So I'm going to take a snapshot of this. The last one I want to talk to in the last 6 minutes is Palantir. And you said it this morning. So funny that you said it. And it was pure gold. I just enjoy listening to you so much in the morning now. It's just so great. So
we're glad to have you as part of the morning program, Anne Marie. I can't think of a better spot.
yeah, it's just great. I love you give such a great range of, okay, here's what happened, here's what we're looking at, X, Y, and Z. All right. So Palantir, as you mentioned this morning, you said, those of you who love Palantir might need to cover your ears because Kramer said it was going to go up huge, and it's just fallen through the floorboards this morning. So what we have in the Benzinga Pro platform right now is a 1x3x2 put spread event, one that carries risk because it's got downside pressure, which as it comes into 70, it might be much nicer, right? Because we do think it's going to hit 60. If you wouldn't mind putting up that chart.
Yep, not at
for
all.
us, we can see that. If you want the 1x3x2 that doesn't require margin, it's up quite a bit compared to the one who does require margin, which is very, very interesting. And that's because so much vol has come into the market, right? The volatility is up. The implied volatility for today is up 16 points on this move down, which makes the put sides really great premium if you're thinking about taking, let's say, you want to take a position in here that's an iron condor. I've got this one from 70 to 65. Some folks are thinking, hey, listen, I think it goes down to 60 and it might even be less. So let's do another one, 60 to 55, and then 80 to 85. Gives us almost half of the entire spread. Another very beautiful iron condor that will allow you to participate in the bleed. Now, many of us have a patience event that we struggle with. I am one of those people. I just want things to go quickly so I can take my money and leave. But I promise you, we are getting into a time in the market where patience is going to pay you more than anything else. And so it's an exercise for personal development. It's truly the bane of my existence.
Mine too, Anne Marie. We're on the
So
same team with this.
yeah.
I am going to be working on patience a lot this year.
It's so important. And, all of the great traders that we look out there, we just see them going, you know what? I'm just waiting for my spot. I'm just waiting for my spot. And so the spot might be, hey, I want to buy Palantir again when it gets back to 60. But let's say it never gets there, but you've got to wait. Why not make money while it's doing that?
Yeah.
Hey, Palantir is sitting
Love
around
that.
for a little bit. It's got a trend. It's got to revert to mean. It's got to give up some of X, Y, or Z. Okay, why don't you try to make some money while you're waiting? And you're not looking for these amazing bangers that we end up getting in the morning, but it's nice to have something working when you don't have to be working all around the position.
Also worth mentioning here that the 50-day moving average is right at 65. So on our way to 60, you might actually find it that might make being patient even more difficult.
Yes.
So something else to keep an eye on here.
Absolutely. So I'll put that there. And look at that. We have 90 seconds to spare?
Yeah, we really did it. We really did it perfectly here. And Beach Bum, I'm so glad that you do this because I was debating just spelling it. We spell patience around here Pay.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
I'm with you. We're gonna make this a mantra, and if this has to be a mantra of 2025, then so be it. At least we're prepared for that. So, okay, Anne Marie, really amazing stuff. Thanks for joining us again. I apologize to you regarding the actual stream quality here. We're going to have that fixed for tomorrow and then also for Friday. So we'll see you on Friday.
Yeah. All right. Sounds great. Take care.
Okay.
Thanks for all you do, Ryan.
You
that
got it.
Energy level you keep so good.
And thank you, Anne Marie, because like I've been saying, there's so much stuff in Benzinga Pro and you are a huge part of that. And we cover that here all of the time. So really appreciate you. Anne Marie, have a great rest of your day. All right.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. Anne Marie's departure leaves room for an all access. So I'm going to bring on my friend, Dan Leach. Dan, how are you doing here? Look, I got to say, I love the shirt. I wore that shirt on Monday. I love it. Looks great. How you doing today, boss?
Rye Guy, Happy New Year. By the way, what do I know? I thought Hoth was an ice planet that housed the Rebel Alliance base. So I guess, what do I know? But
you know the same thing that we do. We were making what was it? That's it. The Rebels are there. Set a course for the Hoth system. You name it. We had all those jokes flying this morning.
We gotta get it going with the AT-ATs. But let me just tell you this. I didn't know if it was ever going to happen, but we actually could talk some positive Chicago Bears news because they finally did something, beat the Packers, end the season without maybe the acid taste in the mouth as much. But I was thinking about you. I was very emotional, and I got very excited for my Ryan Faluna.
Okay, so first of all, I appreciate that. I am gonna, on a real quick technicality, I'm gonna correct you because we actually did 3 things. We didn't just do one thing. We did 3 things. We ended an 11-game streak against the Packers, as you correctly pointed out. We ended the in-game 10-game losing streak to finish out the year. And we also ended a 13-game road losing streak that has been plaguing this team for several years. I'm glad the season's over, Dan.
All we did was, 15-2, first 1 seed ever. I mean, I was there. I was there on Sunday night. One of the greatest games I've ever seen and been a part of. The Lions might actually finally, dare I say, they've never done it before, as you well know. The Bears have many times. They might actually do the unthinkable and go to the Super Bowl. They're the favorites right now. So now that your Bears are out, they've knocked all those great streaks over. It's all about you. I know we're rivals, but since I love you so much, it's all about cheering for the Lions now.
I am on your team. I cheer for the Lions in every game that they do not play the Chicago Bears. So don't worry. I'm already on your side. They put the Minnesota Vikings in the hurt locker on Sunday night. That was awesome. And I think they're going to roll in the playoffs. Dan, what do we got coming up on All Access here?
Great guest. I got Lisa Ricciardi, the CEO of Cognition Therapeutics. Looking forward to talking to her. And always fun seeing you. Always fun here on All Access as well.
All right. Amazing. Take it away, boss.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Hey, Zingers, and welcome to All Access. I've got a fantastic guest for you today. It is Lisa Ricciardi, the CEO of Cognition Therapeutics. The NASDAQ ticker is CGTX. She's joining us for an exclusive talk today. All Access starts right now. And it is my pleasure to welcome in the CEO of Cognition Therapeutics, Lisa Ricciardi. It is wonderful to be with you today. And Happy New Year. All right, I'm not it's my fault. I apologize, but I'm not able to hear Lisa. But maybe we'll do it via sign language. I mean, I got lots of talents here, but whatever you said, it sounded great. Maybe we could have our great team of 1,000 producers work on this, but we will get this figured out. Nothing like going live. She's got a great background. We're figuring it out here. But just back for a second. So starting with my man Ryan, I'm here in Detroit, and it really is a heck of a time to be alive with those Detroit Lions. So, all right, I'm back with you. And it is a great time to be alive for many different reasons. And a big shout out to Ryan and Anne Marie. And Rebecca, are you good? Lisa, can we hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I certainly can. See, you've got the golden voice. Right. And we were depriving our listeners and viewers of hearing from you. So now that we got you, it's just that much better.
Terrific. Thank you.
Well,
morning.
It's good morning to you. Pleasure having you here. I'm really excited to talk with you today. And just off the jump here, give us an overview of Cognition Therapeutics, if you would.
Sure. Cognition Therapeutics is a public company. We took it public in October of 21. We work in the area of neurodegenerative diseases. This year, we read out 2 trials, one in Alzheimer's disease, and that's mild to moderate patients. And just in December, we read out our trial in Lewy body dementia, which I'll refer to as DLB, dementia with Lewy bodies. And I have to say, we are so pleased, Dan, to think we could have a clinical leadership position for 1.5 million patients that have no treatment options available. We have an oral drug.
Right.
Progressing in studies.
No, it's such an important space. It's such important work you're doing. And let's talk about it. Dementia with Lewy bodies, I know, is not as well known as other similar conditions like Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's. What is the scale of the condition, and how many patients are affected by dementia with Lewy bodies?
Great question. So with Alzheimer's disease, we generally say there are 6 million people. I'm talking only in the US. And then there's 1.5 million with dementia with Lewy bodies. The truth is, Parkinson's disease is about the same size, and everyone has heard of Parkinson's disease. Right. Our principal investigator always says, Lewy body dementia is the biggest dementia you've never heard of. And he's right. It's often confused. The symptoms are varied. It's complex to get to the diagnosis. And when you get there, there are no treatments, which is why we're so excited about our results.
No, absolutely. Let's talk about that. I mean, you're on the forefront of this. What treatments do exist, and how effective are they?
When we go to talks on Lewy body dementia treatments, Jim Galvin will put up a slide that says treatments for DLB. It's a blank slide. People treat symptoms, so agitation, things like that, sleep disorders, but there are no treatments, Dan. And we believe we may have a drug that is disease modifying. Why? Because our drug there are toxic proteins in the brain, and we prevent them from binding where they kill neurons. Simply put, we think we can change the course of disease. We're so excited.
Think of how many people, families that can help.
Yeah.
And, tell us a bit more, if you will, Lisa, about CT 1812. What's the mechanism of action, and how could it help treat the patients with dementia with Lewy bodies?
Sure. So we describe our drug as an oligomer antagonist. What on earth does that mean? It means that when toxic proteins want to bind, we prevent the binding. If I made it that simple, it would be really clear. In Alzheimer's disease, everyone's heard of amyloid. You don't want amyloid in the brain. In Lewy body dementia, same thing, but it's called alpha-synuclein. And the truth is, both patients have both sets of toxic proteins. And that's why we were so excited to do this study. Like, we affect both, we've proven it. And then we saw the clinical results.
No, it's incredible. Let's talk about the investor side. I know investors seem to have really appreciated, Lisa, that phase 2 data reported in December. What are the key takeaways from Cognition's perspective that investors should understand?
Great question. So the first thing we want investors to understand is we had a consistent impact across all the areas of symptoms that we measured. These patients are complicated. They have problems with behavior, cognition, like Alzheimer's disease, function, and movement. Function, we're talking brushing your teeth, activities of daily living. Right. The biggest challenge for these patients is really on the behavior side, and it's more for their caregivers. You're talking about agitation, aggression, hallucinations, sleeplessness, apathy. Picture an elderly couple. Our PI always says, you know, an 85-year-old woman will forgive her husband for not remembering if it's Monday or Tuesday. But if this person's really aggressive, she can't take care of him, and off they go to a nursing home. So when we looked at this data and saw we impacted everything in the study, we were so pleased. And then you get notes from patients and caregivers, more than the patients, the caregivers. I received a letter saying, if my husband didn't have to go into a nursing home, he'd be writing this email with me, but he did really well while he was on your study. So that makes you say, you know what, we're going to find a way, we're going to phase 3. There's something active here. And that's what we saw with our Alzheimer's trials as well, a drug that's active.
Well, let's talk about phase 3. What are your plans going forward for scientific presentations, obviously, which are so important, interactions with the FDA to plan phase 3?
Great question. Thank you. In about 3 weeks, we're going to Amsterdam. In that setting will be the International Lewy Body Dementia Conference, where all the experts in the world get together. And we're really pleased to have a podium presentation to be front and center talking about the results of our study. From there, we're going to meet with the FDA. We'll have one meeting on Alzheimer's disease and another meeting on Lewy body dementia. And it's from those meetings, Dan, that we learn what's the size of the trial, what are the endpoints, how long are they, what are the costs of the trial. So everything progresses in a stepwise fashion. I couldn't tell you today what the trial looks like because we have to discuss it and gain alignment.
Sure. No, very, very excited to see how those presentations go. Of course, I know you are as well. And I know the company seemed to have a very strong end to 2024. Can you give us kind of a summary of what happened and why you're so excited for 2025?
Terrific. Yeah, thank you. So in 24, in the middle of the year, we received the results of our Alzheimer's trial. As I said, mild to moderate disease. And what we showed was with an oral pill, we're talking once a day oral drug, patients had greater slowing of progression, greater or equal to the antibodies. You're familiar with the antibodies, which require infusions and imaging. This is an oral drug. We were very happy with that data. In October, we read out more data from that study and saw that there was a group of patients that showed no progression of their Alzheimer's disease in 6 months. So what you're really saying is you're giving people time back, months of being able to interact with their families, but dress and bathe and drive and figure out how to get home. So those were 2 things that happened in 24, followed by the results of our DLB trial. So we take those things in total, and we say to ourselves, we have an active program. It's not a guess, it's not a hint. These signals are strong, and they merit the thought and design and investment to go to the next phase of development.
I love it. And like we said, this can affect so many people in such a positive way, and very exciting times ahead, I know, for Cognition Therapeutics. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you today, Lisa. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Really appreciate you giving us a chance to talk about what we're doing here. My pleasure. Thank you. Of course.
Pleasure, honor, all mine, and to great times ahead. There she is, the CEO of Cognition Therapeutics, Lisa Ricciardi. Their ticker on the NASDAQ is CGTX. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day, everybody.